We're good. Please note that the following views and the opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily the views nor the opinions of the Master Force Group, YouTube.com, Free America Radio Network, our sponsors, our partners, and MFG is a private society. Nothing here is ever to be construed as hate, medical, nor legal advice. And listen to the Forbidden History prime time, 7 days a week, right here on the realpublicradio.net, because hidden beneath the sands of time lies the greatest of all mysteries. It's the Forbidden History. Unearth for yourself the secret truths that lie hidden just beneath the surface below our feet. What is it that the powers that be do not want you or I to know? Come and journey with us as we explore and dare to know, because it's all right here, coming your way 7 days a week on the realpublicradio.net, Free America Radio Network, and on YouTube.com as Forbidden History Archive, and Ninja Cat with the Forbidden History series. And don't forget to check out the Cosmic Essence, ladies and gentlemen. Stand by for the broadcast. Coming to you live from Studio Z at the Lighthouse in Central Ohio and Free America Radio Network in the land of dreams, enchantments, and nightmares. It's Forbidden History Archive. What they didn't want you to know that we tell right here. Stand by for the broadcast, ladies and gentlemen. You do tell your friends? Go tell your friends right now. We got some things to do with you. Glad to have you tuned in today, ladies and gentlemen, right here on Forbidden History Archive. Coming up, it's going to be the ASHAVORs, continue part 6, ladies and gentlemen. But and that's why you're here, of course, because here is where we bring you the most important information on the face of the entire Earth or under the Earth. Here is where each week we bring you the very best in radio broadcast listening, while we reveal the greatest secrets and the deeper mysteries of life. Yet the one question that will always remain will be this: Can you handle the truth as it will be presented here this afternoon, this evening, tomorrow in the Morgaine, in the future, wherever you are around the world? Stand by for the broadcast. It's Forbidden History Archive, what they didn't want you to know, of course, that we tell right here. Still time to call your friends. Enjoy the music and the wonderful presentation by Yo Engineer, and we'll be back in a flash. Oh, yeah, and we will be covering the topic of California, by the way, and we're going to be covering a review of the movie The Purge, and that seems to be what's going on in California right now. And of course, the ASHAVORs and symbolism and everything else we talk about right here. I am Dezert-Owl, your host. Hope you are telling your friends. Look at that moon. Yochelleg, thank you so much. She's doing great. Let's enjoy the opener here, ladies and gentlemen. Still time to call your friends. You did call your friends? Come on. Or you don't have any friends. I get it. All right. That's what happens when you learn the truth, of course. Welcome to Forbidden History Live, ladies and gentlemen. What they didn't want you to know. On the big merry-go-round, the big spiral, look at these graphics. So we're obviously trying to ramp up a new broadcast here, a new broadcasting round with new graphics and images, and we're trying to go where no one else has ever gone before. Obviously, what they didn't want you to know, that we tell right here, and it's a fact. Okay, we're don't have to grandstand or brag. We're just declaring something that's very unique in our time. There's an enigma, ladies and gentlemen, and it is that the beast system has deceived the entire world, and so we have to wake up to that reality, and that's why that quote at the very beginning, Shelley, I don't know if you can bring that quote up now, but it is very, actually I can bring it up in the Skype if you don't have that. Well, anyway, we're at the end of the opener, so let's go to that quote real quick, and because we finally put the polish to it, I had to do a few word modifications, and I am your host, Dezert-Owl, bird who sees in the night, ladies and gentlemen, and we're trying to make lemonade out of the lemons that they've given us, and you can tell that it's pretty rotten in Denmark. And of course, what did we find in Denmark but Jesuit priests? The Dutch Royal Navy was a Jesuit operation that conquered the world, and then they threw in their little corporation called Britain, and Britain took over the shop of each different port they opened with their warfare. So the game and the history is far different than anything we've ever imagined. But the free exchange of our own ideas and all information is our first and our last real bastion or plane of true freedom. Yet we have never had this before, but only the mere illusion of it. Convinced that we are free, we have become the ultimate of blinded slaves, all within our own minds and reality. And even though it's 1919, it is the 2020 vision, ladies and gentlemen, because the reason when you went to the doctor, eye doctor, all these years, and they told you that perfect vision was 2020, they knew way back then. These occultists lay their plans hundreds of years in advance, easily, and they were pointing towards the future of 2020, knowing that this is when their final whatever, hurrah, just take down to bring back the final phase of that new age they ushered in when the Twin Towers came down, the proverbial Masonic towers or columns of Jachin and Boaz, the symbols of sun and moon, symbols of time, the letter L, the obelisk, the creation come down, and out of it came one new tower that we saw over there, of course, in New York, go up. And it is the new age that they ushered in. The Masons had a magazine back in the 1920s called New Age. In the 1970s, people were talking about, oh, New Age, man. It ain't nothing new under the sun. That was an old idea way back when. And so we have to get wind of the fact that, ladies and gentlemen, it is an occultic world. Okay, it's not your world. It's not my world. It's an occultic world, meaning that the darkness appears, from a practical standpoint, appears to overcome the light, and that's why we have the what's called the black sun, and we have the continual illusions. That's why their goddess Lucy, as you see her in front of every courthouse, has a blindfold on, a blindfold. Because she's the blind goddess, because she's the goddess that has no light. She's in the darkness, called the symbol of the moon, the Lucifer, the light of fire, Lucifer, light of fire, meaning she's a reflection of the sun. She is not the fire, she's the light of the fire. And that's a reflection, you see? And so they reflect goodness, they reflect benevolence, they reflect love, they reflect all these things, but in the end, they are the mother's sons of darkness. And when you go to these movies to be entertained and don't know what they're really telling you, they've got you under full mind control. We think that we know. We think because we woke up to the medical scam, or we woke up to the health food scam, or we woke up to the milk scam, or the gun scam, or the political charade. Because we woke up to one of those aspects, we think now we're an enlightened being. Yeah, I got it now, man. They're lying to us. But you know what? Even when the people think they figured it out, they haven't figured it out. It's the great irony. It's the great enigma. Okay? And all of a sudden, they don't need to learn anything more because they finally figured something out. Or I like the flat Earth one. We got now Flat Earth Warrior out there, got Flat Earth on the warfare. They're all crusading for Christ on the platform of Flat Earth, and that's their whole, you're not with me, you're against me, and it's so pathetic, It's because all the laws of physics, all the laws of creation, all the laws of what the sun represents. Maybe we can go to that graphic, Shelley. That'd be a good one next on that wonderful clip that you produced today for the broadcast. All of a sudden, all the metaphysics, all the physics, all of how our solar system and our universe operated is destroyed in one moment with Flat Earth. Okay? As if to say they claim the stars aren't real. The sun isn't real. The moon, as David Icke says, is made by aliens, but aliens are Aryans, you see? The sun gods, the sky gods, they came down from the light, the Aryan race. They were the first made, as it says in our scriptures. Adam was made first. Then he's taken up to the throne of the sun. The Eden, falsely called Eden, which is correctly the atom, which is nothing other than a garden of atoms. It is a ball of atoms. They think some little basketball in the sky can give life to all the earth, Give me a break. All the planets came out of the sun, And by the way, the Great Giza Pyramid, which is the Gazar Pyramid, is made by Melchizedek prior to the flood. It's said that the Hyksos, which means shepherd kings, came into Meitzar, never called Egypt until 300 years ago. They came into Meitzar, and that they closed the priesthood, shut it down. I wonder why. Maybe because Melchizedek for Yahweh, had all the signs in the sky, right? The great wonders, the great. Since he owns everything, obviously everything runs for him, and then shut everything down because of the cosmic event that was soon to come in the great destruction that created the flood. You see. So the Gazar Pyramid literally has all of the dimensions, the circumference of the earth, the distance from the earth to the moon, pi ratio. It's not a 4-sided pyramid, it's an 8-sided pyramid. There is no hieroglyphics in there. There is no, wall with any hieroglyphics written on it anywhere in the king's chamber, the queen's chamber, because it wasn't about burying kings or queens. It was about making a statement through the dimensions in the hallway, the grand hallway, and the circumference, the height of the pyramid. All these measurements dictate the distance from us to the moon, the distance from us to the earth, to the moon, to the sun, and also the circumference of the earth and more. Not to mention it was placed at the very geocentric, between all land masses on the planet, geocentric point. But in one moment, through the Vatican lie, because that was the lie back then, 1,000 years ago. Oh, if you go out there, you're going to fall off the edge of the earth. That's because they didn't want anybody discovering America, because they've been coming here for thousands of years. But people, they hear one thing and all of a sudden they know everything and they're ready to crush you if you don't follow their paradigm. But people know nothing, ladies and gentlemen. They think they know. And the first aspect of wisdom is to admit that you don't know anything. And then maybe you'll be able to see something for the first time if you can be humble and look up to Yeshua and ask him for some help. And he'll lead you on the trail. He did it for me. He's doing it for some wonderful friends on the broadcast today. They got it. They actually get it, that they've been lied to, and all of our scriptures have been controlled by priesthoods. There are no originals. And so all we have left is to be able to wake up to the great charade, conspiracy, deception. They deceived the entire world that they have put on us. And if we could get the picture that they wanted us to go spell, they told us, go spell. And that's why they took away the word evangelion, which you can see clearly in the Greek. Okay, clearly in the Greek, it's there. And then they change out the word to gospel, having a big joke on Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, because they know that you won't even get the meaning of go spell, just like you won't even be able to spell, okay? Because you heard it here first. And because everything they do is a code. That's what Lucifer means. Lucifer, Lucy, is a code. She's not a woman in a dress with with big boobs flying through the air, and spooking people and playing, card tricks with them and everything. There's no entity that flies through the air. Even Isaiah confirms that, by the way. I can pull out the scriptures if you need me to read it here. I'd be glad to do that. Anybody call in, So it's a code. It's a code of a priesthood. That's their goddess. Okay? She's merely a symbol. Just like the logo, the sun, as you see in the graphic here, is a symbol. It is Elohim, but Elohim is beyond the sun, the great Ulafhaim. The great Ulafhaim, he's the first atom, but he is spirit, beyond creation itself, from the infinite to the infinite. And in the moment, we are in time. And the everything that spins, goes round, has the illusion of time. In the great mystery, everything spins. It's not flat. It spins. The sun is round. The moon is round. The earth is round. Saturn is round. God rings around it. Come on. The people, we go around the sun because it is our mother star. Okay, so I get on a roll at times. I know that, but the deception is so great. The people will die. People will die, ladies and gentlemen, to support the lie. They will die to support the lie. They're so convinced of it. I mean, it's amazing. They'll kill while they're claiming, benevolence and Yeshua or Christ or whatever you want to say. Then they will kill you. They will go totally against what the scriptures say and go out to kill you, to destroy you, to hurt you, to injure you, because you're not like them, because you're different, because you see something different. Then you become the prime target. You see, it's easy to to go after those who are not the mainstream. Well, I am so grateful that I am not mainstream. I am so grateful that I've been standing alone for 40 years with the vision that Yeshua gave me with eyes to see, that we have to be, what did he say? We are a separate people. So I had to separate from myself from the idiocy, from the confusion, from the dogma, from the false doctrines, from, the 600 different flavors of Baskin-Robbins religion. You can have the flavor you want, have it your way, when it says there's one Lord, one faith, one baptism. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's a psychotic world, and to spin on that further, we're going to talk about the movie The Purge I just saw last night. I can't get over it. And we talk about words here, original thought. Like, let me give you an original thought, okay? Just to give you an example, and I do want to touch on California real quick, because we got friends out there that are suffering. And Dane Wigington was 5 hours late yesterday. Wonder why? Because they cut off all the power, and he probably had to do some engineering to get the weekly broadcast on the end of our world. We're hearing a broadcast every Saturday. It's the most important one I listen to, with Dane Wigington every Saturday, the end of our world. Hear it here first, Dane Wigington. Okay, go check him out on YouTube while he's still there. And so how we talked about words like you don't want to be awake, right? Because awake is a funeral, and you don't want to have a good morning, because that means you're wishing somebody to have a death in the family good morning. When it's Morgaine, it means another day to get it right. Morgaine, that's the garden. More of the Gainun, the garden at high noon. You see the words. This is the original thought. This is the Indo-Germanic that we talk here. We're not stuck in the Greek and the Hebrew. That's where they wanted us stuck on their flypaper. But we pierced the veil here, ladies and gentlemen. And that's a wonderful graphic produced by Ninja Cat. Ninja's doing such great work. She stays up till 5 a.m. after taking care of her mom all day, and is literally exhausted when she's doing this stuff, but she's dedicated to serving us. In fact, go to Ninja Cat. Go check out the new graphic we just produced yesterday together. All spontaneously happened. When I saw this picture in her folder, I said, wait a minute, Ninja, this is the new image, and we went to work on putting the words on there, and the numbering system for the Forbidden History series now correctly on Ninja Cat. Okay, so check out Ninja Cat and blow your mind. It's just a great work that we're all doing together, because we get it. I was alone for 40 years, and I'm no longer alone now. I actually have people that can see for themselves. They interpret the words on their own now. They don't need me anymore. If they we couldn't do this anymore, they already know how to read now. They got it. They got the scam. In other words, if you don't recognize that you're being lied to, then everything you're going to follow is the false narrative. You're going to assume that the concordance, the Strong's Concordance and the lexicons. Listen to the word lexicon. Lexicon? Wait a minute. What's going on here? Lex, Lexicon, which really means, law of the con. Does anybody know what con means? Lex is Latin for law. A lexicon literally means, because the I, what the I is like, as in the sense of lexicon, meaning the lex of con, the lex of the con, the law of the con. Whoa. And when I read the Jusinius lexicon, which is beyond a concordance, they're right in there. They didn't talk about the Hebrews in the Hebrew lexicon, Jusinius lexicon. They didn't talk about the Hebrew race. They talked about the Phoenicians and their Hebrew. Oh, okay. So the priesthood were going along for the ride for Bandi, Gandhi, Rashish, Hashish, and conquering the world at that time with the Phoenicians. And they were following the god Adonai, who's a blood-drinking god, and it's India backwards. And that's the reason when they came back from Babylon, they took the word Yahweh, some call Yahweh, out of our scriptures and said, oh, that name is a little too sacred. we don't want to say that name, and we're going to put in Adonai, and I hope you like it. Thank you very much, because Adonai, we like Adonai. He's a bloodthirsty drinking kind of guy, and we like to drink the blood of babies and anybody else we can get our hands on. You see? And so the games have been played, ladies and gentlemen. And so I was watching a thing about an amusement ride that went wrong, where somebody died, and I was kind of just intrigued, at the game, the new sensations, and it was a 3-minute clip, and turns out that in this water ride, a little boy had his head cut off, and very tragic, and they knew there were problems right from the beginning, but they did it anyway. They did it anyway because their people are irresponsible, and it's all about money anyway, isn't it? Right? So anyway, you know what they call the ride? I can't get over it. They called the ride the Baruch. The Baruch. Well, if you've been listening in, you know that the word Baruch literally means, they supplemented it and replaced it with the word blessing. Blessing, right? Because that's blasting, bless you. Oh, blast you. Yeah, okay. Because you can hear the serpent in there. Bless. It's not the original word. The original word was Baruch. And Baruch, when you say, may the Baruchim of the great Father of light be upon you, or may you be Baruch, you could say it short that way, but there's an expression that goes with it. The Baruchim. The Baruchim is plural, mean many things. And so Baruch, when you say, may the Baruchim of the Father be upon you, the great Father of light, then you're saying Baruch, may you be endowed, enlightened, and separated with a mind's eye for seeing in the night. There's Baruchim. The Baruchim, the endowment, the enlightenment, and the separation with the mind's eye for seeing in the night. Like I said, I was separated 40 years ago because I couldn't be with idiots, I couldn't be around people that followed illusions. And I didn't know what was happening to me. What's going on? How come I see these things and nobody else sees them? And so guess what? The ride, they called the ride Baruch, but did it mean, endowment, enlightenment, and no? It meant, they say the word Baruch in the German means insane. Means insane. So they changed the word of endowment, enlightenment, and a separation with the mind's eye for seeing in the night into the word insane. Saw it yesterday, okay? And so it never stops. They switch everything out. They change the meaning of words. That's mind control. That's the game that they play on us. We're just too stupid, or as George Bush put it, the great experiment. USA, the great experiment. Well, let's see. I know that freedom can't be an experiment because we all embrace everybody's right to follow their own light, to follow their destiny, to excel to the highest potential they could ever be. Like they always said, anybody in America can be president in the United States. And then all of a sudden we find out that everybody that more than half the people that became presidents were in the royal family line of the European regals. And whoever was most closely related to the royal family would then win the election. Whoever had the most sovereign blood, so to speak, got elected, whether it was Gore or the Bush family, Bush Jr., even Obama apparently is related to the royal line in the crossbreeding of African and Caucasian, what a great experiment. The experiment, ladies and gentlemen, is the mind control that they can put you under. They don't have any doubt about it. They've perfected it. Okay, they have perfected it, and it's so tragic, because somebody stumbles on a certain truth, then all of a sudden they think they're of the higher truth, and now they got it all, and still they haven't figured it out. Because if you're not connected with the one who made all things, the one who made all things is the one who reveals all things. You see, and so we got people who can't even go spell, can't even get the idea that the word was switched out and maybe they should investigate what that means to go spell, and then start looking at the corrupt forms that are all in front of us. And because when it opened up to me 40 years ago is when I said, wait a minute, I think I'm being lied to here with this Strong's Concordance, with my scriptures. And as soon as I investigated, bingo, I proved it within a heartbeat, starting with the words Adam and Eve. because the other half of Adam and Eve is in the Strong's Concordance. Not Adam, not Eve. Okay? You go look up Eve, you find Kai. You go look up Adam, and you find dictum. You find Dick. Excuse me, Dick, which is a slang, but yet actually symbolizes dictum, dictate, dictionary. Okay, dictator. So, okay, because why? He named all things. So diction comes to Adam because he was the one appointed to name all things. So they didn't want to get us the full picture. They didn't want us to have eyes to see, and cave is keva. It's not in the Kai, as it is in Strong's, is the other half of her name, and it's not Kai, it's K, correctly, but we can see it in Kaiser. So even Caesar wants to be related to this woman, because the Kai is the fiery keys. Oh, that's what the Pope has behind him in the Vatican. He's got the fiery keys there, saying, "We got the keys, ha ha ha. You don't, ha ha ha." And so the K is the K. There sounds more like key, right? K is key. And then you got the word chi for power and energy. All those things come out of it. And so keva, the va is the serpent, but the word kava together means cave, because the a is silent, or the t is silent. Excuse me. Then it's cave. In fact, the at at the end, cavat, it's the at is silent. It represents the creation, the silent creation that is speaking, but yet remains silent till you can interpret it, until you can read the symbol, because it's about reading symbols. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go to the book, Shelley, and that'll be good. Unless you got any graphics on California, let me do that first, and then we're going to go to the interpretation of the movie. And I just want to add about the Vatican, okay? The serpent eye of Cain. Vatican is, here it is, okay? VATICAN, okay, and it'll be spelled like this, and I'm not the one that discovered the vat, as being a prime root for serpent. Okay, it was somebody else. Okay, I didn't. The Father just puts me at the right place at the right time to see. And all these other researchers, there's a lot of people doing great work, and I have people that translated the scriptures that I rely on, in my being able to bring forth the original thought. Okay, I have my association of experts that I've been going through for years, and so there's lots of great researchers out there. I'm not. I've interviewed many of them. And some people hate Jordan Maxwell because he doesn't follow Christ. And to use the common diction, but yet he's a genius on symbolism. He's one of the first people to ever talk about the New World Order, quote on one world order. In fact, the day Kennedy was shot, when I was in second grade, Jordan Maxwell was going to do a presentation on the New World Order that very day, and so he'd been beaten up quite a bit and impoverished, lost everything. That's what happens to you when you tell the truth. You lose. So people, even mainstream narrow-minded Christians, hate Jordan because he doesn't follow our tradition, but yet he's put his life on the line to tell the truth. I think he still deserves our respect and love, and maybe our creation of light for him. So I've interviewed Jordan a few times, but where was I going with that? Well, let me just spell Vatican. Okay, let me get back to that. VATAY. I was talking about researchers. That it was. And then GAYNN, which correctly is the serpent eye of Cain. Oh, nice group of people. See, what is that? C, serpent eye of Cain, AIN. There it is. Okay. The Vatican, the Vatican, the serpent eye of Cain. Okay. The Cain. You can have Cain, Khan, and there's where we get the word Khan from Cain as well. Okay. So it's the Vat. The Vat is a serpent. What you have a vat, you stir it, right? So you create the serpent in a vat, and the vat, the AT, the prime root of the alphabet, is the creation. So in the deeper sense of the vat, you got the serpent creation. In other words, the V, and then the AT. Let me create a space or a hyphen. Let me hyphenate it. AT then, means it's a code, but you can't read a code. Well, some of you can. You're getting it now, but we don't. We've never. They never told us in school about this. How can you be proficient in something you know nothing about? What was interesting is I subscribed to one of those channels with the British Museum, or one of those societies associated, and then this guy comes on. He's going to talk about Sumerian, and right out the gate, the first thing he says, okay, well, first thing I want to say is that this is not a code. Bingo. Red flag. First thing he's going to talk about when he's talking about Sumerian script, he's going to say, by the way, I just want to mention that the Sumerian is not a code. I think it is. You see? And so they had to immediately put in the mind control deflection. This is not a code. This is not a code. This is not a code. So immediately, you go, oh, okay, well, that's not a code. Yeah, okay, I get it. Yeah. See, because you're not able to, to get the picture of what we're talking about here. What are we talking about? We're saying it's all a code. It's all a code. And the reason they created what do you call it? The what looks like the bird's feet in the tablets in Sumer and all the places. They got a code that looks like bird's feet. I mean, you can't even make out one letter in there because it's totally foreign from our Aramaic Phoenician script, aka Phoenician script. Okay, so they're all codes because anything that is written down from the mind is a code. Okay, it is a code because it has to be interpreted by somebody's mind, and if you're not there and it's in another period of time, you can't interpret it. So it is a code, you see, and so in other words, co meaning related, like a co-support somebody related. It's a code. In fact, the D is a corruption. Actually, it's a co, and it's related. It's a support. And so anyway, we can, go further on that one other day, but I just wanted to share the thing about Vatican. Okay. So real quick on, California, ladies and gentlemen, California is in a state of war and under subversive attack. Okay. In a state of war under subversive attack. The announcement of the attack that would be ongoing was declared by the United Nations in their Agenda 21 program. I learned about Agenda 21 back in when was it? Last century. It was 1997, I believe. Yeah, 1997. I stumbled onto a group in a restaurant. I went in a restaurant to get some coffee or something, and they're having a meeting there in Kentucky. I was driving my 18-wheeler, and they were there talking about Agenda 21 and gave me some brochures. I let them know that I was a broadcaster. I had United Truckers Defending the Constitution, and was interested in what they're talking about. So I got the material, looked into it, and they talked about how they were going to close down certain parts of Kentucky, right on the water of the big reservoir and all this, and they were all under threat, duress, and coercion. And so so that's when I first learned about it. That would have been what now, about 20 plus years ago? Yeah, 20 plus years ago, 22 years ago, when I first learned about Agenda 21 and how the United Nations was going to push everybody into the cities. They were going to get them out from the rural, and suburbia, and just push them into giant cardboard boxes of buildings that would house people, like maybe a 10 by 10 room for the family, you know what I mean? And then that would be the last phase of annihilation of society as we know it. Because as I was talking about at the beginning of the program, and I got diverted, that this 2020, the perfect vision, that to fulfill what was instituted through the takedown by the Israeli Mossad and the Bush family of the Twin Towers, where they were willing to have a ritual sacrifice within the two columns representing Masonic Yakin and Boaz, the two columns of Freemasonry, coming down as they sacrificed people through the columns for thousands of years. And so these classic columns that they took down were symbolically then ushering in a new age. By the way, they took them down by 15 megaton thermal nuclear hydrogen bombs that were placed in the basements from Building 7 on a rail car that was pushed with the atomic device at the time appointed to detonate. And then Building 7 was ultimately destroyed and taken down by an atomic device, so nobody would be able to get the evidence, you see. And so, but everybody's still talking thermite. Well, the building didn't melt. If you use thermite, the steel melts. Get the picture. Do your investigation. Was dust. And the only thing that turns anything into dust totally is an atomic blast. They did it at Hiroshima and Nagasaki. You saw the shadow of people on buildings. Their bodies disappeared. And nothing left but the shadow on a building that still remained far off in the distance. Okay, far off in the distance, where the blast was diminished, but still would destroy flesh, but not the brick building, you know. So that's, again, the grand deception. They wanted you looking at thermite. They wanted everybody, thermite, you know. But it was, how many underground nuclear detonations do you think they did? They perfected it underground, right? We saw those tests, and it was Dmitry Kozlov, that a former Soviet soldier who came forward and spilled the beans in a 5-hour presentation called The Third Truth. Okay, go look for it on YouTube, The Third Truth, and by Dmitry. You can spell that name real easy. Kozlov might be a little different, Kasavlov or something, Kozlov. But go look for The Third Truth and blow your mind. He shows you in detail with graphics how they implode a building. Okay, and he said that they had to have a way to take the building down in an emergency, or they could not build it. That was the law in New York and also in Chicago. That's why they evacuated the Sears Tower, because it had the same outer structure, steel casing, with a nuclear device ready to take it down, and they were afraid. You know, they said, "Wait a minute, it's going to happen here." But and so anyway, that's how that happened, ladies and gentlemen. And the truth, as they say, is stranger than fiction. But that's the third truth. Okay, that's the one. You know, they want you to think it was planes and fire. Then no, it was thermite. You know, you see another diversion for another diversion. But it was the thermonuclear device of all things. Of course, that would turn the entire building to dust. It went right up the concrete center, and then from the top down, everything dissolved. But it went up the chimneys. They were like chimneys. That's why they had concrete core and floors that were not like girder structures of the old style, but outer steel casing. The entire buildings were like chimney flues. You see, okay. And so what's going on? California is in a state of war. That's right. Agenda 21. The United Nations are here to save us. No, they're here to destroy us. Okay. Every time an event goes on the planet. Like, remember when the Utsis, they said there were Utsis and Tutsis killing each other in Africa? That was not the Tutsis, but the Watusis. Notice how they slammed their names. You know, the Watusis, an ancient tribe in Africa, being killed by the Utsis. And well, I don't know what their name was originally, but it was probably not Utsis. And so, but then what do we find out? Oh, the United Nations are there. Oh, supervising, of course. And then we can talk north of Australia, an island country called East Timor. And East Timor, well, what's the first thing they do? They took away everybody's guns. They got gun control. And then the next thing you know, 200 or 250,000 people, 250,000 people are genocided. Okay. And the United Nations, of course, were there supervising, you see. And so that's one. Oh, yeah. UN is one. They wear it on their helmet. That means one. UN is French. UN for O-N-E. Isn't that funny, huh? One. The one world order right there in the UN. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I'm absolutely astounded that it's like they've ramped up their program. Now, no sooner do they say they're going to cut off the electricity. There's a beautiful California view right there. It could be. Certainly that looks like Southern California and the coast of California that I've seen. We don't see those kind of pictures anymore. Where were you going, Desert? California. I saw that beautiful picture and I got lost in the beauty. Yes, California, ladies and gentlemen, is the power company declares, well, we're going to turn off all the power, and the guy that's talking is a Hindu. He's if not, he's Islamic, or he's both Hindu and Islamic, because he's got a turban on, and they got a turban behind the control handle of power. Power cuts, right? That's what I'm talking about, Ninja. Thank you. And so they literally, are foreigners by appearance, and they're now in control of the handle of the power. That's a great symbol. Remember, signs and symbols rule the world, and so they're controlling the handle of power. They're going to cut the power, and you got a guy that looks like he's Hindu and Islamic, and now the fire starts right within a day or so of the power being cut off to a couple million people. Spontaneous combustion. We see this wonderful presentation by a guy, I don't know his name. Write it in the chat if one of you know it. This guy, he showed by using a type of a radar, a weather radar system, and he could see the flashes. And within this, he said the same minute, half a dozen or more fires were formed in central Northern California and then in Southern California, each in its own wave. All at once, the same moment, boom, you can see the flashes, or then some of them with the maybe within a moment of each other. Logic before authority. Thank you, Ninja. Logic before authority. Go check it out. We are witnessing a terror warfare, ladies and gentlemen, against the American people. Okay, this is not a test, and this is not a joke. This is reality. They're going to cut us all off at one point or another, and the only thing we've got left is to speak it like it is. Whether they're going to pull our channel or whatever, that's okay, because one thing I've never been is short on words and being able to call a spade, and so we're not on mainstream radio, so we're not soft pedaling anything for mainstream radio. We're on a forum that has intelligent people. I don't think there are any babies on this channel right now that want to cry, they're being bullied, and therefore they're afraid and they need to go suck on their bottle, and go to their mommy. We have people here that are highly intelligent, that most everyone here has been a victim in one way or another, targeted, and actually knows the score better than most, because once you've been targeted, you know that this is not your world. And you know that the secret societies are the game players, along with the military. It's a military operation / secret society, higher echelon, all under the Vatican control, of course. But beyond that, it is the unseen hand. Okay, Rothschilds are front. Rothschilds in Catholic Encyclopedia, it says they are protectors and defenders of the Vatican Trust. So Jewish banking is the money kingpin. They're the ones that fund everything for the Vatican. The Vatican just writes the blueprint, just like they wrote Mein Kampf for Adolf Hitler. And of course, the Queen lost everything to the banking deception, and therefore that's why the Queen bows down to the Lord Mayor of the City of London, the 66 square acres of allocated property to the Jewish banking. And so the Queen is subservient to banking, banking subservient to the Vatican, Vatican subservient to the unseen hand, those wonderful group of people that will never know who they are, never know their names, never see pictures of their faces, right? And so California is now the test pilot program for what's about to happen everywhere else in America, not to mention Australia, not to mention Europe, all everywhere. It's all in the game, ladies and gentlemen. In fact, if you watch the movie 2001 Space Odyssey, that's what this 2001 was about. You see, it was a space odyssey, as the floating planet in the cosmos they were looking for their new age to usher in, that we talked about, in the 1920s. They had it on their magazine, New Age. And the new age that they were planning on ushering in was in the future, in the next century, in 2001. Okay, and so they've ushered in their new age, but they weren't going to be done with the ramping up of their operation till 2020. Then they go all into their underground bases, while they leave us on the top to kill each other, and then also to fall victim to all the poisons and all the radiation and all the things that they've laid out for us. All these nuclear plants. What do you think? I mean, this is self-destruction of an entire world. You know, you can't go out, unless they got something that sanitizes, radiation. But I'm skeptical about that. But it's possible. Anything's possible with these creeps. What their secret technologies are. Free. They knew about free energy, and they gave us a phony industrial age. You know. So the people in California are under attack. They need to have a way to wake up to this, ladies and gentlemen, but they can't. They can't. Because only the few ever wake up. Only the few, because everybody, even my sister called me. Well, she texted me. She's 4 years older than me. Okay, she's always hated me. That's the funny thing about siblings. But she told me off basically. She said, I just wanted a normal brother. Instead, I got one who's trying to tell me about, I don't remember how she put it, but you know what I mean? I tried to give her, I said, you need to go listen to Dane Wigington, and you need to go to this channel as well. If you go to these channels, you'll know what she's in San Diego. Okay. She's at the worst possible place in America, on the West Coast, in the left coast, and right down there. California is bad from top to bottom line. But so I wanted to do her a favor, and so she tells me off for wanting to let her know what's about to happen. Okay, I guess something's wrong with me, right? No, I think maybe something's wrong with you when you don't want to know what's about to happen to you. I think I would want to know if my car were going to go off a cliff. And in fact, we're already off the cliff, and we're going down to the bottom, as Dane so well puts it. And the only thing we have left is the ability to survive as long as we can with full knowledge of proper preparation, water purification, creating a fire, food storage, long shelf life food, things of that nature. And maybe we'll survive it maybe somebody will actually survive into the future. I doubt it. When they've destroyed the ozone layer, when all of life is dying, from the bees to the whales to, everything, right? And they're going underground. But, eventually they're going to be eating each other alive. They're going to eat each other alive because they're not going to have a life on Earth anymore. They won't even be able to have babies down there unless they maybe can do it, scientifically. But women have to be above ground because not only does the moon affect the woman's menstrual cycle, but the cycle is also affected by the sun. Okay, so without sun and moon, they can't make babies underground. So it's going to be, and would you want to be down there with psychopaths that drink blood and that eat flesh and are happy to, that are psychopaths? Would you want to be underground with a group of psychopaths, ladies and gentlemen? You'd probably be bowing down, worshiping them. Next thing you know, right? That's what they want. Bow down, kiss my toe, my big toe in my ring. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So ladies and gentlemen, the best deception, the best art of war is the act of deception. No, this is not an assault. This is not an assault. That's what they said to those people at Waco, right? While they're poking holes in the building with the tank, 100 men, women, and children, 100 of them in a building. They created to worship the Heavenly Father above, and now the U.S. military with Delta Force with 5 machine gun nests surrounding the Branch Davidians. And while the people are trying to run out the door, the Delta Force are using machine guns to machine gun them at the door so nobody escapes, because they'd all be telling a different story than NBC, ABC, and CBS and the military, right? And the BATF. In fact, what's ironic, if you want to hear how symbolism rules the world, okay, the very day Waco burned to the ground, April 19th, the high occult day of occultism, April 19th, go check it out. Lexington conquered, the shot fired around the world, 1775. The day the Warsaw Ghetto burned, April 19th, 1933 or whenever it was, okay? April 19th. Columbine would have been on April 19th, but 19th was a Sunday. So Monday on the 20th, April 20th, Columbine has its test mind control project of 2 boys to shoot up an entire school, okay? And so where was I going with this, Ninja? Okay, oh good. Let me take a breath here. Yeah, the art of deception is warfare. Okay, and yeah, so they murdered those people, and in fact, they don't know how much we see they don't know how much we see anymore. Okay, Well, they know that we don't see. That's the bottom line, Ninja. We don't see. We even when we think we woke up, we haven't woke up. Okay? Because the layers of the onion are so great. And they give you 3 different versions, 4 different versions of something. So which version is it? Like version, right? Like the scriptures. Right? They give us this version, that version. Go look at them. They're all the same. They're using the same words, blessed and behold, and they'll get a little more modern, but righteousness, all these words are the occultic terms. You see, we define these ASHAVORs here, these words, and that's what we're going to do. I know I've been long-winded. I think I'm actually absolutely compelled today by the fires of California, because we're witnessing the final phase. We're just about 2 months away or 3 months away from 2020, and that's when they said they're gonna pull their switch. That's when we will see things perfectly, ladies and gentlemen, and it looks like it's true. And then when I get back, I'm going to do a review of the movie The Purge, because it's apropos to everything we're talking about right here. And so I'm glad you tuned in. Hope you do tell your friends. I know our broadcast's not meant for everybody, because we go a little deeper than anybody else in many different ways. And so you've got to be a deep thinker. You've got to see and read things for yourself, and you've got to have we talk about the symbol, we talk about the meaning of the words, and we talk about the true political state. That is the grand illusion. It is a stage. There's people, they think they woke up and they're talking about Trump this, Trump that, the election this, the election that. Oh, the Green Beret are going to come in and save us, and they're going to bring the Nasara $20 trillion and fund everybody, and we're going to have good times are going to roll again. Mom, Pop, and Chevrolet and all that sort of stuff. They don't get it. They're still looking at the illusion when none of it's real. It's a diversion for what's really going on, and what's really about to happen is world genocide. It's been ongoing. It's been happening in front of your eyes. You saw it like Waco. You saw it like Columbine. You saw it in the fires of paradise. We know what happened there. Several different approaches to high technology experimentation on burning the world down. UFO technology, ray gun technology, micro robotics technology, energy. All of this was used in all these different ways. They saw all these different photos were captured, and we saw them. And because our bastion of freedom won't last long, we're not going to know much any longer, because they're going to pull the plug on everybody, ladies and gentlemen. So welcome to Planet Earth, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Dezert-Owl, bringing you the Forbidden History, what they didn't want you to know, that we tell right here. Somebody's got to do it, and I'm happy to do it. These people stink, and somebody needs to call a spade and tell it like it is, and expose their criminal activity, their psychopathic activity. What else do we have to lose? They're coming for me, sure, but they're coming for you too, are they not? Stand by. We'll be right back.
Now we can see a new world coming into view. A world in which there is the very real prospect of a new world order.
The new world order does not mean surrendering our national sovereignty or forfeiting our interests.
Machine. Every time I think about the damage that's been done, the anger wells inside me till I'm almost overcome. I want to tear the moon out of the sky and drop the sun. Why do I feel so all alone, like I'm the only one? Even though your eyes are open, they may never ever see. Your mind may never comprehend this sinful subtlety. Your heart may never hunger for the truth that sets you free. Your soul may know the darkness of divine eternity. Like petty thieves who plunder in the shadows of the night, they break inside and enter through the windows of your mind. How can I control this poisoning of the soul? These lies that blind your eyes, blinded by the lies. Have your eyes been blinded by the lies? Have your eyes been blinded by the lies? Yes, your eyes are blinded by the lies. Yes, your eyes are blinded by the lies. Thought machine controls the scene so well it doesn't show. How can I contain this anguish and this pain, knowing that your eyes are blinded by the lies? Have your eyes been blinded by the lies? Have your eyes been blinded by the lies? Yes, your eyes are blinded by the lies. Yes, your eyes are blinded by the lies. Have your eyes been blinded by the lies? Yes, your eyes are blinded by the
Okay, and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Forbidden History Archive and what they didn't want you to know that we tell right here. We wanted to do words today and just get on with the standard broadcast we've been doing. Thank you, Lynn, for the audio check, and welcome all of our friends as well. I know we have Ninja Cat calling in, so I'm going to get bumped, and I failed to make the final point about Waco. And the dedication that occurred in Washington, D.C. on the same day. That's what I was leading up to, and I got carried away and lost in all the confusion of the chaos they brought on our planet. So I'm going to do that as soon as we get, I guess Ninja's calling in, so I'm going to hold back before I try to do that quick little mini presentation. And then I've got the movie review, The Purge. So Ninja, are you calling in? Plugging in, okay. That should happen pretty quick. And yeah, we're doing part 6 of a series on the ASHAVORs, and don't know how far we'll get. We may do part 7 tomorrow with Ninja, because if I don't get many words out, we're having a crisis in California. People's lives are being destroyed, and it's hard to just go on and not touch on it a little bit. Thank you, Shelley. Okay.
You there?
Yeah.
Okay. Good day. Hold on.
Okay.
G'day.
Ninja.
How's it going?
It's you tell me. How's it going?
It's 5 a.m.
Okay. Well, we're
say no more.
Yeah. Well, the world is still spinning, and we're calling a spade, and none of it's pretty. But we've got to do some things that aren't mainstream radio. The great diversion of mainstream radio. That's why I've never, even though I've been on mainstream radio, it was short lived because you're not going to tell the large mass the things we tell the very small group here. We have a group of adults that have figured things out and hang in and know the score totally, and that's why they're on every broadcast. There's few of us, but that's okay. I'm happy to be among friends. I was alone just over a year ago with nobody to share with or talk to. Couldn't figure out my technology. They kept they're playing their games here locally where I'm at. But before we go to you, I just want to make my final point because I got diverted on the idea of about Waco, and so the day Waco burned on April 19th, that's when I went in another direction and then didn't finish my point. On April 19th, 1993, when I was living in Texas at the time, I had actually met Branch Davidians after that were not burned alive. I met some of them, and so the very day that the Branch Davidian home and church, not compound, but home and church, that's what it was, burned to the ground, and 100 men, women, and children were assassinated, not died or burned. They were piled up at the door trying to escape and were shot by machine gunnists of the Delta Force military. And on the very day that Waco burned to the ground and they massacred 100 people right in front of the news cameras, but of course the news cameras couldn't get any good footage because the front had no doors, or the doors were, I don't know, I don't remember all the details now, but they were trying to get out the back doors, and that's where all the shooting was going on in particular. And so while Waco is still smoldering in the ashes of genocide, then Bill Clinton, who was then president, the teenager that never grew up, degenerate individual, he having a party, snorting cocaine all the time he's in office, and engaged with sex slave trafficking, and because that's what they did, they kidnapped women, raised them in the sex slave ring, and that's or he just went after any woman he could find. Actually, it didn't have to be like Kathy O'Brien, who came out of the MK Ultra mind control program, sex slavery program, presidential sex slaves. It was Marilyn Monroe who was one of the first ones that were overtly public. But in the very day of April 19th, 1993, while Waco is still smoldering in ashes with bodies laying all over the place, Bill Clinton then was in Washington, D.C., while the ashes of Waco were still burning, and at a dedication event to all the Jewish society around the world, and he was dedicating on April 19th, 1993, the Jewish Holocaust Museum there in Washington, dedicating to all the Jews who were sitting out there in the audience, saying that this Holocaust of Nazi Germany, supposedly that occurred, that they claim that occurred, but it's been disputed, this will never happen to you again, he said. This Holocaust that had occurred back in the 1940s and 1930s will never happen to you Jews again. While at the same time, just hours earlier, 100 men, women, and children on the soil of America with military tanks and Delta Force machine guns had their lives taken from them, who were Christians. Whatever branch of Christianity, to me, it doesn't matter. They were people who had a right to be free, to think for themselves, to follow whatever light is shining for them, and they were all massacred. So the message was, this will never happen to you Jews again, because now it's the time for the Christians. And that's written in Morals and Dogma, written by Albert Pike in the 1800s. They said that there will be 3 world wars. He predicted them in the late 1800s, and he said the last Third World War will be using Islam, and they will be using it and all of it to destroy Christianity and to kill the remnant of Yahweh, so they can have their world of darkness and their big party and let the show begin, as they say, right? And so that's what's happening in California. It's the extended version of Waco, and it's all coming to a neighborhood near you, whether you like it or not, ladies and gentlemen. So there you go, Ninja. Wonderful symbolism, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, so sickening. It's so sickening and so in our face, and it boggles the mind. Like we know why people can't see what's going on. We know the mind control. We know all of that, but it's still so hard to wrap your mind around that people can just completely dismiss what is really going on. So thank you, Desert, for speaking about it on this program, because you explain it really well.
The best war is the war of deception, and the war of deception. This is not an assault. This is not, you're getting beat over the head. I think it feels like an assault. Are you sure? You're killing me. Wow. Okay. Yeah. But we all bought into it. We all bought into it. That's the bottom line. And just like the Boston Marathon, a totally staged actors event with percussion bombs and actors that already had their limbs cut off, and it was all another part of that mind control program. And that's why 3 days later, when so many people on YouTube figured it out, they had to use a drone, a missile, to blow up the town of West Texas and kill many people there and practically blow the town apart to create a new story. They had to cover the Boston Marathon because it was out of the bag. Go ahead, Ninja.
Wow. Sorry, losing my voice. I just want to say good day to everybody. Love yous. And I hope you're all safe. And you're in my prayers always. You made me think of, I think this is, okay, you'll see what I'm getting at in a minute. You made me think of a short video that I put up the other day. I think it was 55 seconds long because that's all the time I had to do it. Mm-hmm. It hailed here, and Mum kept running out into the hail and standing there. Mm-hmm. Mum is a perfect example of the dumbing down and the mind control and the effect of the geoengineering and just everything. She is a perfect example of what is happening to the entire planet. I think it's going to get to that point where people are going to be running towards these disasters, or they're just going to be standing there like a deer in headlights. People aren't even going to be aware enough to run away, to make that conscious decision to turn and run from danger. I think that's what it's going to be like. I think that's what it's going to be like very soon. so I just wanted to bring that up because I'm witnessing that in my own home. So, yeah, yes, yo, yep. So on to something maybe a bit lighter.
Okay.
Desert?
Very good.
Yeah. Are you there? I can't hear you very well.
You can't hear me?
I can now.
Okay. Yeah, I said yes. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I wanted to get that out because I think it's important and move on. Yeah, I have a word that I was going to save for. I was almost said Chronicles. I have a word that I was going to save for the Forbidden History series on Ninja Cat on Monday, which is actually today now here. Wow, time zones. Do you want to hear it?
Yes.
Okay. Revolution. You know that TV show that we were talking about with the grid going down? That was called Revolution. And so I was thinking... Yeah. So I was thinking about that word and I wrote it down. And I got Ray, like for R-E, I got Ray, and I got Vol in there. And then I got either Ocean or Ashon for the end of it. Does that make any sense? That's about as far as I got.
Well, let me get a card here so I can write it on a revolution. Revolution. So revolve. The first word is revolve.
Okay.
Right. But the vol, as we see, what happens with the revolver, it keeps on going, right? So it's volumes. It's a vol.
Yeah.
So like like a conveyor belt. Revol, revolu. There's Lu, Loo. So there's your protection.
I should have seen that by the sound.
And the owl, the owl is backwards. Lu is protection, but backwards you get vision for owl. And Revel Shan, then Shan, Shon, is the light, the shine, the light. So Revel Shan, and there you can also see the word lotion. Lushan is lotion. For meaning the true. What is a lotion? Might be the true light. I mean, there's different elements in those words like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, nothing dramatic. But I think revolution, as an anagram, has the word.
I see evolution.
Well, love. Okay, love is in the first 4 or 5 letters. Love, lover actually, Lover. Yeah. So revolution. So love is a revolution at the same time, and a revelation. You might say revelation at the same time. But I think I've seen that word, being used as an anagram, and I just don't remember what that was at the time. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
That helped. That helped anyway, because I missed something. Like I missed paying attention to the sound of the 2 different sounds of the O. So, thank you. Thank you. Okay. We'll just make this a quick one. But do you want another word?
Sure.
Okay.
Right. But by the way, you are doing a great job on upgrading the thumbnails on the Forbidden History project we've been working on for almost a better part of a year, and so people want to check that out. Go to Ninja Cat and see how she's upgraded. We worked together yesterday on creating a new thumbnail for the broadcast series, and it's just very apropos because it all goes back to the light, ladies and gentlemen. All goes back to the light, and so it's a beautiful picture of the emerald fire. The emerald fire is the green on the earth. And thank you, Shelley. I see that behind the Skype there. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And so the sky, with the sunrise. The question is it a sunrise or a sun setting? We like to think of it as a sunrise because we're looking for that perfect sunrise in our Redeemer, Yeshua, for the deliverance that he promises and that he brings. And it's called the day without end. While at the same time, it's an image of the production of earth. That's the sea. What they call the amber waves of grain. And it's because there's sea. There's the word sea. We talked about it the other day on the last broadcast with Ninja. That the sea is also brought to us by the seed. So we can see that seed brought forth the sea. You see, that's an ocean of more seed. The
Does
seed
it?
Brought forth many. What?
I just saw something looking at that picture. And when the wind blows, that's what it looks like. It looks like a wavy sea when the wind blows it.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine the
Absolutely.
wind blowing the crop.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the waves. It's waving right in the in that aspect. Sure. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Sorry to cut you off. And I was going to remind you. I was. You
Right.
you beat me to it.
Right. And Shelley did the wonderful graphic here for the promotion of Ninja Cat's.
Yeah,
for
that's
Vinci
really
series.
cool. I love that. I love the style. It's really cool.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Do you want a word?
Well, yeah.
ASHAVOR?
An ASHAVOR?
It's one of those nights, isn't it? You're not talking much.
Well, you're supposed to give me a break. That's why. Never mind.
I know.
Let's do it.
I know. It's the time zone thingy. Does it?
I just ran the 100-yard dash.
I know you did.
For 1 hour, and now I'm kicking back, letting you talk, and you're seeing things, and you know what's going on. You've got a different part of the world. It's the same version, just another version of the same version, and
Yes.
you folks are hotter than we are in many ways. But now they're not burning down Queensland right now, but they are burning down California.
They're burning down New South Wales, but they keep whiplashing us down here at the moment. Hot, cold, like hot, freezing.
Mm-hmm.
I've got the heater on right now. Yeah, it's a joke. I mean, it's not funny, not a funny joke, but it's a joke.
Yeah.
I'm so sick of it. I'm just looking for the word that I put in. I was thinking, when you were talking about all the elites will go underground and start eating each other, I was thinking, I'm never going to do that. So I thought of the word never.
Mm-hmm.
I thought of the word never, and it's there in the chat. I put NAVAR and then put NOVAR. So am I going anywhere with that? With never?
Well, okay, so let me write it down. NEVER. And you were spelling it how? NA?
At first I replaced the E's with A, and then I saw Novar. But at first it was NAVAR.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, well, what we see in the form is the Nave, right? The Nave are who we see in the movie Avatar, and it's an abbreviation of the word Navigator. Remember, they abbreviate the words.
Yeah.
They cut part of word like Adam and Eve. They cut off Kaiva and Kai and Dick.
Yeah,
and
I thought of that word as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So never, we can see in there the Navigator. So the prime roots being the N and the V and the R, Navigator. And so in the implication, if it's related, the fact that they built the word never out of it implies that that beyond them, there's nothing else. Or never. As the old axiom of the crow is, nevermore, nevermore. The blackbird in Edgar Allan Poe's classic. So Navarre. You can change the vowel, so you could get that word out of it. Raven. There's the word raven out of Navarre when you get the anagram backwards. See, what did the raven say? He said never more, never more. So never forward, raven backwards. You see, so it's telling a story, and there's probably more that can be built into it, but I wouldn't make much more out of that.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just analyzing everything. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And if a word gets stuck in my head, then I have to run it by you, Desert.
Yeah.
Yeah. Curious. I'm just trying to think of something else to give you a break.
Right. Well.
Thinking.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we just, in other words, I just want you to call in with, whatever you were on the mind, because I do have a presentation to do. So I don't need you to come up with new words. If you're good, then we can pause it here, because you're late. You said you're late, and I just, I have a long way to go yet. So I just,
okay. I just felt like I had to keep talking.
No, I was just letting you go whatever, you wanted to talk about. That's all. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, I'll let you get on with the presentation, because I'm kind of wordless now.
Well, you're tired. You've been cramming, between your job with your mom, and then you were doing upgrading on the, on the program thing. So I will probably, you've done a great job on this series with the ASHAVORs, and what do we call it? The logo word ASHAVOR Royal Eye Center. The Royal Eye Center is the ASHAVOR, and we even defined on your program on Friday that woman is the Royal Center also. That's so it is nature with symbols speaking is feminine by nature. I put in there up above a little bit, when they Lynn mentioned FEMA, and I put female. You see?
I saw that.
Because I've known that for years. In fact, Fe, there's the FE, the prime root. You see, of FE is FAY, who we would then also spell as PHAY, who in the most complete form is PHRAY. Okay, and also known out of the Babylonian as a Freya, FRAIA, I think, like that. So that the Babylonian is there as well, and she was, if I remember the story right, the mother of Nimrod, and see how they changed the spelling and the shape of letters and words, right? So you wouldn't never make connection. In fact, most people have not heard of these words. They've heard of Faye out of the Spanish, but don't know what that means. And you can see that that what we're talking about is the woman. These are all aspects of the woman, including the one in Babylon. I didn't spell it quite right. I think it's FRE. I'd have to go get my book called The Two Babylons, because it's in there clearly and many times. But the point is that so why did they call this agency FEMA? It's because, remember, they killed the father. That's why the Masons call themselves the Mother Sons of Darkness. That's what I call them, because that's what Masonic means. Mother Sons of Darkness. But they call themselves the widow's son. You see, they call themselves the widow's son because they killed the father. They killed the father of light. Right, that's the eclipse. They eclipsed the sun with the moon, with the Luciferian occult. Occult means to hide the light. And so what we have then is a female tradition. In other words, remember, it was the mother that was supposed to give the baby to the father. The mother brings forth the baby, but now the mother is saying, I don't think I want to give the baby up. Sorry. And so the baby, meaning the creation, who are blind. That's why their goddess in front of a courthouse is blind. That's why they say in the courtroom, I can't hear you. Could you speak louder? Okay, I don't know what he's saying. Let's put him in prison. Okay, let's just lock him up and put him away. Give him 20 years. Okay, yeah. The guy's over there saying, I'm innocent. I don't know what this is about. I don't know, he's a liar. I didn't do it. And anyway, you're going to prison. It don't matter what you say, Ninja. You're going to prison because that's how they, do. Well, actually, now they're doing, unemployment control because there'd be too many unemployed out on the streets. So the way they do it is they create more laws and more rules, more codes, more regulations, and then they railroad. Don't matter if you're innocent anyway. They need your body. They're going to put you on Wall Street, make big money. At the same time, they clean up the streets. You see, with unemployed people and homeless people. You see, so that's another way the game. So look what's happening in California now. We got people falling out in droves. Yeah. We got 50,000 people probably in Los Angeles alone homeless. I don't know. It's thousands of people. I know that.
Yeah, I think it was more than that. Or I saw somewhere it was more than that, more like 100,000.
And so you can't hide the game anymore. The problem that we have, our world is going down. We're at the end. 2020 will have perfect vision. So FEMA represents Thur woman, the Luciferian occult. They are feminine. That's why the men wear dresses. That's why the Scottish Rite wear the kilts. That's why the priesthood wears the dress. That's why Islam wears a dress, and they're here to kill everybody. That's why. Because they're the woman. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Working for the woman, which is the creation. They are in the echelon of the dark matrix. They love the matrix, and so we have to transcend it. In other words, we find out we're spirit, and therefore we deny ourselves in this world, right? We deny ourselves from certain activities or certain food or from, to make commitments for a higher life, and therefore won't go somewhere anymore, won't do something anymore. But they don't want that. They want it all. Morals and Dogma, the book by Albert Pike, more and all. They want more, they want it all, and they're going to kill you for it. And that's what we get with the secret societies, In every community of the world, you've got Freemasonry, okay? It's not by accident. It's an unannounced military operation under the Vatican, under the control of Jewish banking and Kabbalism and all of it under control of the Jesuit Black Pope. Okay, all of it. So that's how it works. Okay. So
thank you.
Yeah. Well, like I'm happy to share all this. Boy. But people have got to know. Like you got a duality. You got to know the bad and the good. You got to know the lies to be able to get to the truth. Marfugel gets 22,000 listeners live on his program, and they talk about all the illusions. And what do you think? Oh, well, my opinion is this. I think that it's the aliens coming down, and I think we got to just make them get a driver's license. I don't think they can come down here and not register with the government. Do you? No, of course not. Well, so you get it's another version of ghost to ghost. I mean, they get people opinion. Like I care about somebody's opinion on here, right? I want to talk about what it is. And what is really happening in reality, the true nature of things, and who they are, where they are, why they are, and when they are, and then who we are, you see? Yeah. And so we can actually get there and stop wasting our time because time is gone. We have no more time left.
Yeah, we don't. I like having, as much as I would love for more people to wake up to this, I do feel more comfortable with our 6-pack. We have a 6-pack right now.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel more comfortable with a small group. Imagine 20,000 listeners. Imagine trying to moderate that.
Well, we wouldn't be able to moderate the chat anymore. It'd be on its own,
Yeah.
So, well, it's just that, you see, programming. That's why the quote is at the beginning of the program now. The Shelley, please, if you would, can you put that quote back up? Because the people cannot wrap their mind around, that every aspect of their life they've been lied to. In other words, they say they got money in their wallet, right? We'll pull the paper out. It calls itself a note. A note is a promise to pay. Well, you can't cash it in at the bank. and get gold or silver for it. So there is no payment going to be made on that piece of paper, that worthless piece of paper. They call it a dollar, but it's a round ore. A dollar is a round ore, like a silver dollar, a golden dollar is a round ore. It's round, and that's a dollar. A doll as in.
Is that why they changed our money? Sorry, the Aussie money, because we had $1 and $2 notes, and they changed them to coins.
Okay, well, it doesn't matter. The coins are worthless. Also, it's not gold or silver. Okay, yeah. It's copper, it's tin, it's metal, it's nickel, it's whatever. It don't matter. It's not real substance. Okay, substance is gold and silver.
Doesn't matter.
Okay, yeah. And so, okay, so they call it money. But money goes back to the ore again, the munai. That's the round ore. So they call it. The only thing that applies properly is the current sea, the current, because it's the current in the sea of the emerging sea, the flood that they flooded upon us with all the lies and deception. Okay, so what we have in our pocket, nobody knows the true nature of, only a few. And then the bankers sure know, politicians sure know, and then we could talk about the law. That there is no law, and that words don't change, and yet every version of Black's Law Dictionary they change the meaning of words to confuse the mind and to control us. That's how they control us, and we don't know what they're talking about in a courtroom. It's another foreign jurisdiction and a foreign tongue. Okay, so the free exchange, and I'm reading the quote again: the free exchange of our own ideas and all information is our first and our last real bastion or plane of true freedom. Yet, we've never had this before, ever, but only the mere illusion of it. Convinced that we are free, we have become the ultimate of blinded slaves, all within our own minds and reality. Just like we had people coming on the chat and they're having their own conversations, with big paragraphs. Well, they sure couldn't have been listening to the broadcast, and they're typing, 3 giant paragraphs in a row. It's like, okay, where'd that come from? And so they're not interested in what we're talking about. They're just interested in socializing, on this broadcast, diverting everybody's attention from it. And so we had to stop some of that because it was a distraction. And then they were like, I even though I told you I had no love for Michael Jackson's career, but yet I, as an individual, I felt he deserved the benefit of the doubt, which is what the law was supposed to offer us. The benefit of the doubt that he may be a good guy. And then if we look at some of the evidence, pro and con, it's pretty clear he was a victim. And
he was born into it.
Yeah. And he tried to come out. He was not a pedophile. I don't buy that for a moment because I did my own research. I'm a journalist, and therefore you have to review everything you can find on any given topic before you have a definite, if we want to call it, an opinion or view. And that's what people don't do. They just hear, well, the earth is flat, and immediately they're a convert, and now they're the best advocate there ever was for the flat earth because I'm walking on it. Got to be flat. It couldn't be, what?
Sorry, I'm sorry.
Are you still here?
I'm still here. I just want to say also, but please share this and do tell your friends. Anyway, you reminded me of something when you mentioned the flat Earth. There's a new theory popping up, and I think it's going to.
Okay. Well, let's just add that. Wait a minute. Let's define the word theory. Theory is not science. Science is exact knowing. Go ahead.
Yeah, I know. But I just want people to be aware of it so they don't get fooled by it. There's a couple of videos out there that I saw. People are trying to prove that the Earth is not flat. The Earth is not a globe. And please, anyone listening, don't take this out of context. This is just what I've been seeing. And these channels are trying to prove that the Earth is actually in the shape of an eye. And like with the dome, like our eyeball is the dome part, the clear part of our eyeball, for example,
Right,
is the dome part. Yeah, that's the latest, and I think I just have a feeling that it might kind of take off. I think I put it in the chat, actually.
Yeah, well, you see, isn't that the kind of argument I was talking about with the Twin Towers? That, they since they knew that people wouldn't buy that it was a plane and that it was terrorists, and they said, but it was thermite. But now let's talk about thermite. Thermite, no, it wasn't even thermite. It was a nuclear device. So, okay, so now we're going from, it's a flat Earth. No, it's not quite a flat Earth, but it's got like an iris on top, and it's built up like a mound. And so you see, they changed the flat Earth argument to but it's another version of the other version. Yeah. And and therefore, if you talk the other argument, you've already bought into the fact that it's a flat Earth, and it's
So I'm going to I don't know. I'm seeing the possibility of a lot of flat Earthers being converted to I-Earthers. I don't know, but.
Well, they've already been converted into good slaves, so it doesn't really matter, They're not, the knowledge we should be concerned with is the knowledge that will save our life, save our souls. And they're on there wanting to prove the Earth is flat. I don't have to prove anything. I'm so glad, I don't have to prove anything here. I can talk about and give you enough substance behind the things I talk about so that you can see it yourself. But people who are blind and have been propagandized by dogma and are therefore bigoted, which is another word for prejudice, prejudice being another word for prejudgment. Prejudgment means you've already, can come to your conclusions without any real substance behind it. That's prejudgment. I see you coming and I say, well, I don't like you, because you're this or you're that, or you're wearing plaid pants, and what I'm saying. Just people judge you based on a lot of different reasons, and the point is that people who really care about substance and truth and life, they first of all respect everybody else and for their differences, and at the same time, they're too busy really wanting to know the truth than to being involved with such childish issues such as that, because like I say, they then become warriors, like that one guy, the warrior for the flat Earth. He's now on a crusade to prove it, yet he can't prove it. He can't define why there's a South Pole and a North Pole. He can't define the electromagnetism. He can't then define the weather patterns. He can't define the days and the evenings, nor can he define the seasons or the cycles of the moon or the sun. He can't define any of that anymore because he destroyed it all by the false narrative. You see, by the false narrative.
Yeah.
If you had a flat Earth, how could it be a North Pole in the middle, with a flat, what I'm saying? And then the outer ring is, all cold in the middle, cold all around. It defies the logic of reason, and it's worth very little bit of our time to talk about it. But I do, periodically just, bump into it because it's relevant to, something we're saying, because we use those terms, the world and, and things like that will, will always come back to it, or lantern. I like that one. The ancients knew the lanterns because they lit the lantern. Okay, what are you going to do about that? You see, because they were smart. They weren't dummies like they are today. They actually observed nature and could read for themselves nature. That was the first book, including the stars.
Yeah, see, that's it. Like, once you can see and read it for yourself, you can, like, you touch on every subject, you touch on every part of the deception, and bring it back to the ASHAVORs and the fact that they switched our words from the beginning.
The ASHAVOR is the light.
Yeah.
In the beginning is the light. And that is the symbol, that is the logo. All symbols came out of the light. All symbols, all creation, everything.
Yeah. Right. So we have to talk about, we have to talk about the lies. It's all part of it. But the beautiful thing is that we can get past the lies. I was thinking when you mentioned the warrior, all the climate change protests that are going on in this country at the moment, in Australia. Australia has erupted. I don't know if the rest of the world knows about this, but the past few weeks have been non-stop protests around the country. And yeah, it's like here in Canberra, like I haven't been anywhere near any of it because I live on the outer edge of Canberra and I barely leave the house. But yeah, they've had quite a few protests here in the last week. Yeah, all around the country. And some of them are peaceful, some of them are not. And that's what they want us to do. They want us to rebel. They want us to fight. They want us to, I don't know, I can't think of the word. They want us to, I don't know, have a revolution. I don't know if that's the right word. Yeah, and I think, yeah, we like right here on these live streams is what we're supposed to be doing, and that is not to go out and protest and try and fight any of it.
Right.
It just it just feeds into it more. It just creates more of that energy.
It's not our world.
Yeah.
Our world is to define who we are in the spirit, because we want to transcend. So we're leaving this world because it's their world. Why would you fight for a dead world?
Yeah.
Why would you fight for a false nation? Why would you fight for an illusion?
That's because that's all about anger and frustration, and that's what we're not. We are not about those negative emotions. Yeah. So anyway, just so I love this. This is the best deprogramming program ever. It's the only deprogramming program.
That's why it's the most unpopular.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'll let you get on with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Ninja. Well, I hope you can stay with us, or just mark the time when you go to sleep, and you can pick it up when you get up in the future. You're always in the future.
I'm always in the future. Yeah. I'll listen for as long as I can, but I've really got to get some sleep. So.
Outstanding, Ninja. Way to go. And so I'm going to do this movie review real quick, then we'll take another break, and we'll come back with some words. We'll finish it off today with some ASHAVORs. We'll probably pick it up on Monday with you. I think we're at 10:30 a.m. my time, right? Eastern time, 10:30. Isn't that right? Okay.
Yes. All
right.
That's cool. Yeah. I can go with that. Yep.
We'll probably do at least one more on the ASHAVOR presentation we're talking about. Because we've come to another level in defining these terminology, these terms, and so it's been great synergy that we've. You came to. First it was. Shelley, who produced that beautiful graphic of a book. She was inspired, and that opened up the series. And then, we just kept going with it because the words were opening up in a way, or in this series, like they've not in the past. In other words, we're all coming to another level. I am, and all of you are and your support, both of you, creating the graphics and the engineering. You've been doing, allowing me to get it out. Then, of course, because I learn as we do the broadcast. I see things for the first time, and some of you do too. And then we're comparing notes, and it's like, whoa, okay, yeah. So as I said, that once you get it, then you'll start seeing things on your own, and that's what's happening as Shelley sees things.
Yeah.
Lynn sees things, and others to some degree I know are getting it, and so we've gotten good feedback.
Yeah, and we're feeling it. Like we're connecting more. We're connecting more on a spiritual level across the planet. And it's amazing. It's amazing. Yeshua is working with us. Yeshua is working through us. To make sure we get the message out there to anyone who wants to hear it. The live stream just went.
All right. Okay, well, let's get focused on that then, and It's still going on my end, so I don't know if it's down your way, Ninja.
Okay. It says
Okay.
no connection. Tap to retry. I won't touch it yet. I'll wait until I hang up, and then I'll try and
All
get
right.
back in.
We'll let you go so you can reconnect then, because we're still good here. And Shelley says we're good. All right, so it's on your end.
Okay,
Right?
I've got the chat. I just haven't got the graphics. So
Right.
yeah.
All right, Ninja. Thank you. We'll look for you tomorrow on Ninja Cat and the Forbidden History series, number 169, I think, or what? 169?
No, I think it's up to 187.
187.
Think. Don't quote me on that. It's either 186, 187. Pretty sure 187. We'll
find out when we get there. All right,
yes,
but we're going up on the count, and so we'll look for you then. Okay, thank you for calling in and for your wonderful contribution always. Okay.
Okay, thank you for putting up with my incoherentness.
Cut it out. All right.
During the okay.
Talk to you in a bit.
Okay. I love you guys in the chat. And peace and light to you, Desert.
Thank you. All right. Bye-bye.
See ya.
See you. Okay. Are we back?
You're back.
Thank you, Shelley. Okay. So, real quick, I just want to talk about the movie Purge. And then we can go to one more break, and then we'll wrap it up with the ASHAVORs, ladies and gentlemen. We got a little bit of a late start because we were ramping things up right up to broadcast time. Want to welcome any new listeners that are out there. I appreciate you tuning in. I know you hear things that you may not hear anywhere else, but they have to be taken into consideration. Things that you have not heard have the potential to then expand your horizon a little bit and to help you to realize that, well, maybe when I've just been hearing one thing all the time, maybe there's something more, to the story. And so that's what we're attempting to do here to share with you. Okay. So The Purge is a movie. Apparently there were actually several movies called The Purge of one sort or another. This is the one that had the American flag on it. And it was turned into a banner from a flag with the stripes being horizontal to a banner, the stripes up and down. Okay. And so the Purge, with the symbolism in there, it was talking about one day for 12 hours. They and it's at nighttime. Interestingly enough, at nighttime, 12 hours. They then once a year they close everything, shut everything down. No cops, no government, no people, no stores, and then they're allowed to mayhem to occur and a purge to go on. And the wealthy, they buy their victims and they have them come on a stage and they kill them in a party. And that's what the wealthy actually do. They have their ritual sacrifices in a party, and so they were actually conveying the message there. But and you got to look at the names and symbols and to see and make connections here. But basically, the two women in there were sisters, mother and daughter, and one of them was named Eve, and she represented Eve, represents the virgin light, but this was a black woman, and it's nothing to denigrate black culture. We're talking about symbolism. That's all we're talking about, and we're all used for. They pitted us against, by using the term black and white. I think we're all different shades of brown, really. But anyway, the point is that Eve was a black woman, African woman, and her father, of course, being African as well, decided to go sacrifice himself, to give his life as a sacrifice. And that's actually what Yeshua did, right? He came to give his life as a sacrifice. And in the process, then we get the picture of the black sun again. So right out the gate in this movie, they're showing us that the father, because they're the widow's sons, they don't have a father. So the father dies. He gives himself as a sacrifice. But of course, what it is, it's, the father he did give himself as a sacrifice as the savior. But the point is that he came back from the dead, so he's alive and well, and the sun never stops shining. But they make it as if he died. They did the same thing in the movie 2001 Space Odyssey. Okay, remember HAL, the computer? Well, let's see. Maybe that was 2011. I guess that was it. 2011, the sequel. And Hal. There you got the father, right? Hal. Look at this. This is how you got to read the words in the code. You see, Hal is then literally the father, because Al, as you know, the Al is father. Al, as in the father. Okay. Just as EL. Oh, geez, I did fall small there. Forgive me. All right, F, and then the EL is mother. Okay, and so there's an airline called El Al in Israel, in false pseudo-Israel. Their airline is called El Al. So what does it say? That's mother, father. El, mother, Al, father. You see, and so I'm proving out that AL, represents the father, and because it's the father of light, the first letter of the alphabet, symbol of light, projection coming down. The father's the architect, the mother's the creator. The V for the woman, there's our Eve again. The woman is the creator, and so there's Eve in the movie, The Purge, and so it's just really subliminally telling about how they purge us. Like they do it with the prison system. They do it with the abortion clinics. They do it with the fires in paradise. They do it by getting people to join the military and go away and never come back. They get it in all these different ways. The purge of your mind by having education, ed meaning that which is removed, right? That which is removed. That's ed. An editor removes from your curriculum what they don't want you to know, that we tell here. Okay, so that's what's the purge is about. It's worth. I was questioning, did I want to watch all this violence? But for symbolism, I had to watch it last night, and it literally it's one to for because what it was, ladies and gentlemen, throughout the movie. Not only does the cover, the thumbnail of the movie have the American flag in the vertical stripes, not horizontal. So it's implying, because the square of the flag is the Freemasonic square, it's implying that Masonry is the sovereign and they're in control. And then throughout the movie, they keep, and right out the gate, they flash the American flag over and over and over. They're telling you the purge is about America in particular, even though we know it's the rest of the world. But they're grandstanding that it comes here first, and it's in a neighborhood. It's not coming to a neighborhood. It's in a neighborhood. When they railroad innocent people into prison, when they stab you with a needle that is filled with toxins that are going to destroy your mind and destroy your health and ruin your baby's future. That the purge is on, the fluoride in the water, name it. The aluminum in the air now. Is the purge on? Yo, Janir, is the purge on?
Yes, it's on.
Thank you very much. The purge is on. They're burning down. You're in California. Do you feel warm and fuzzy with the fires above you and below you?
No warm and fuzzy here. No.
Okay. Yeah, they're in trouble in California, ladies and gentlemen. And we're all under threat, duress, and coercion. And good people are going down right now. They've lost their homes. They've lost their jobs. What's left other than homelessness, right? In the street. Oh, give me a cardboard box, please. So even when we can see it in Technicolor, there's no one coming to save. Okay? Because the people that claim to be our servants and our protectors are the ones doing the work of destroying our world. They're the ones doing it. You see? So there is only one hope, and that's the Father of Light, the Father above, the one we're revealing here, that all of our scriptures have been tainted, all of them, but it is possible to know the original thought. Okay? It is possible. So we're going to go to a break, and then we're going to show you more elements of original thought by going through many ASHAVORs, many words, over and over in these programs. You will then begin to get the picture, and you'll be able to see and read for yourself. You won't be fooled by the false narrative. They're joking. Go spell gospel. Go spell. You can't do it, but you can do it, because we fell through a crack in the wall and pierced the veil to the other side. and because of the grace of the Father, the one who knows all things, reveals all things through his Son, the tree of knowledge, Yeshua, is the tree of knowledge, and the Spirit is the tree of life. There are two trees in the Genon, and they are one tree at the same time. The tree of knowledge leads you to the tree of life. You can't go there without knowing who you are, where you are, why you are, and when you are. And a truth is not a part of any lie. And that's the foundation. That's the scriptural foundation. Then what are all those lies doing in there? What are all those false words doing in there that never were a part of the Eastern culture and are from the Western Vatican creation? So stand by for the broadcast, ladies and gentlemen. Coming up next, we'll be right back. We're going to take a break. Do tell your friends about the broadcast. And we've got everything to gain and nothing to lose by spending a few hours a week with us, okay? We give it freely. What you do with it is your business. I'm just a messenger. Dezert-Owl. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Still time to call your friends.
I've been waiting for something to happen, for a week or a month or a year, with the blood and the ink of the headlines and the sound of the crowd in my ear. You might ask what it takes to remember, when you know that you've seen it before, where a government lies to a people and a country is drifting to war. There's a shadow on the faces of the men who sent the guns to the wars that are fought in places where their business interest runs. On the radio, talk shows, and the TV, you hear one thing again and again, how the USA stands for freedom, and we come to the aid of a friend. But who are the ones that we call our friends? These governments killing their own, or the people who finally can't take anymore, and they pick up a gun or a brick or a stone, and there are lives in the balance. There are people under fire. There are children at the cannons. And there is blood on the wire. There's a shadow on the faces of the men who fan the flames of the wars that are fought in places where we can't even say the names. They sell us the president the same way they sell us our clothes and our cars. They sell us everything from youth to religion, the same time they sell us our wars. I wanna know who the men in the shadows are. I wanna hear somebody asking them why. They can be counted on to tell us who our enemies are, but they're never the ones to fight or to die. And there are lives in the balance, there are people under fire, there are children at the cannons, and there is blood on the wire.
And welcome back to Forbidden History Archive, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Dezert-Owl. Glad you tuned in. Hope you are telling your friends about the broadcast. And yeah, that's a good graphic to keep up. Shelley, thank you. And that's we just before the program had actually put that together. And so I guess that's where we should start defining our terminology here, the ASHAVORs. Aisha is the royal eye. Okay, it's also the royal woman because Aisha was corrupted into Isha with the actually Issa. Okay, so let me just show you in the in the chat just so you can get the idea how it went backwards. Okay, so ASHA then became ISHA, and it became Issa, ISA. And then, okay, and then what we see with that in the Mesar culture is ISIS. Okay, you see? And so Isis is Issa, Isha, Aisha, you see? And so it's the royal woman. We know that the one when he said, I'm calling, Hadam Salkeva, he said, whoa, woman, and you are the mother of all living. Therefore, I am calling you, Aisha Faye. Aisha Faye. The Faye is the other component in this particular, wording. And because you are the mother of all living. Okay. And so it'd be like this. And we talked about the Faye up there. We didn't talk much about the woman, but woman, ASHA, PHAY. Okay. So the Aisha Faye, so she's the royal, therefore what is Aisha Faye? The, or OYALI, of creations, with apostrophe S, SIEYE, which is correctly spelled. No good there. AY, okay? AY, the royal eye of creation's eye. Yeah, she's the royal eye. In other words, she's the symbol of the symbol. You see? She's the royal eye of the creation's eye. And so she's a royal symbol of the royal symbol. The woman is the symbol of the virgin light, not of, darkness. That's why the woman in the darkness is referred to as the whore, because the woman represents the virgin light. And so we have to see things with royal eyes. We have to be royal eyes, ladies and gentlemen, to get the pictures. We have to read. We have to learn another diction. Lection, excuse me. See, lection is the original, or probably the election, which then when you say al, the al at the front is father. The father's action. So a election would be then the father's action. See, there's a variable on the word when you know the components. Then you could say it this way, you can say it that way, but yet it's all saying it the same way in the mystery, because it's all about light. It is all about power of creation. Okay, and Aramaic is that's a profound word, ladies and gentlemen, because it's another abbreviated word, just like I said, out of the Vatican, outside the Vatican, at the College of Abbreviators, run by the Jesuit Curii. What do they call the college? Abbreviators, the College of Abbreviators. They're busy abbreviating all of our ASHAVORs, ladies and gentlemen. There's making sure that we never can follow the trail back home, never can figure anything out. Good old Bubba Slaves. Oh, what's going on, buddy? But let's go have another beer, Bob. Yeah, let's do that. And we can talk about the stuff of life. Sure. Yeah, and don't forget, we'll talk about Oprah, too. I mean, Oprah had a pretty good program on today, didn't she? Yeah, she did. She had a good program on today. Love that, Oprah. Okay, so where was I going with all that? So So, ladies and gentlemen, it's bad. It's not bad. It's real bad. Okay, when it comes to knowing who we are, where we are, when we are, and why we are, and how what are we going to do about it? And so you may have noticed I do get out more words per hour than any other radio host or quasi guest. If anyone wants to interview me per hour, I get out more ASHAVORs because there's so much to talk about. And there's so little time, and so to put it on the assembly line is crucial, because the more I can get out, the more you can look at, the more you can see, the more clear it comes. I mean, I'm not dealing with opinion here. This is not an opinion I'm sharing with you. It is what I'm sharing with you are the facts, okay, the exact science of what they did to you, and so you have to go to work. In other words, what rightly divide. The scripture says rightly divide. Okay, rightly divide the word of truth. Okay, so if we're going to divide it, then we have to add it back up. We have to put it back together, And so, so it's a work. It's a work. It's no, there's no waltzing into the kingdom of heaven or waltzing into the royal house of the Son. It is a work. And but the beauty is, ladies and gentlemen, you don't have to go through 40 years in the wilderness. You can actually go right here. You can go right here, and you can get it put on the table. No, it's not going to be, wrapped in tinsel gold and put on a silver tray for you, because you still have to. I can't make you see anything. You have to see it for yourself. Okay, what do we read in the Greek? Oh, he in the beginning it said was. I love that one. The little words are the most powerful. And they made it, he was, it was God, not anymore, was. No, how about it is, right? It in the beginning, it says was the logo, but in the beginning is. Don't you see it right there in the sky? It was there, and yet it still is there. Still is there. In the sky every day. You never doubt that it's coming back, right? When it goes down, tomorrow is another day on the big dial. That's what day means. Days. I'm sorry, flat earthers. I broke another one of your codes. Okay. The day is the dial. Day is an abbreviation. They abbreviated the words DAY, and it is the DAYAHLL. The day. Oh, geez. I got to learn how to put that cursor in there. They just got me cursing all the time. Okay, DAY is the DAYAHLL. The dial. The what? DIAL. The dial. You see, going round. Let's add the word lantern. Okay, the land turns. I'm so sorry to break you the bad news, my flat thinking friends, but you're not students of ancient history. Obviously, you're not scholars. Obviously, you can't even figure out the metaphysics. You don't even know that the light is the source for everything, and you use the scriptures to promote your flat Earth, and you don't even know what the scriptures say. It's amazing. It's amazing. And they never read half the book. They never read 25% of the book. Oh, the scriptures even prove the flat Earth theory. I just, it's defeatable right on the first, right out the gate. Right out the gate. And we do have a presentation on that, by the way, in the Cosmic Essence, so I don't need to belabor it. Go to the Cosmic Essence. And so the word Aisha, being like at the beginning, just like the circle has no beginning or no end, the Ouroboros, the serpent eating its tail, the logo. Oh, well, what was I saying? Let me get back to the logo. Where do I go? Which way do I go? There's so much to talk about, ladies and gentlemen, But let me get back to the original point. The point of that dot up there in the sky that never stops bringing energy to all creation on this planet. Got to be pretty big to do that. Got to be pretty powerful to charge up the entire solar system, let alone all of life on planet Earth. As they say, the energy coming out of that thing could literally power everything on Earth with just 1 hour of daylight. 1 hour of daylight could power everything on Earth for the rest of the year. That could not be a basketball up there. That could not be a basketball. That has to be, as they said, 97 million miles away. And it even declares it such in the Geyser Pyramid. Okay? In the Geyser Pyramid, the distance between Earth and Sun. It's all there. And so in the beginning, it said the word, was the word when it's correctly, it would be therefore is the word, W-O-R-D, but then we, get this, add an S to it, and what do you get? S-W-O-R-D. Oh, so maybe the word is a sword, could it be possibly a flaming, F-L-A-M-I-N-G, S-W-O-R-D, that points in every direction? Oh, well, that's what happened in the garden. In the garden, they said there was at the entrance to the Garden of the atom, not Eden, which is the corruption, but the atom. Well, let's use Eden. Okay, at the entrance of Eden, there was a flaming sword that pointed in every direction. Well, you tell me what sword can point in every direction other than the flaming sword of the sun, the rays of light, because a sword is a flaming ray. If you were primitive, you would think of that shining sword as a flame of fire, right? Coming your way to put the pain of fire in you. The sting of a sword would be like the burning of a fire, you see? And so then if this is the case, that the word is the flaming sword that points in every direction, then the Greek would also be correct in saying it's a logos, but that's the corruption because that's the cover. They didn't want you to get it. They didn't want you to get it that it's a logo, so they put an S on it. Okay, but let's just give them the benefit, because then the S then is correctly the serpent. Serpent, okay? The S is the serpent. And so they put the symbol there, but there would be an SH, the logos. Oh, well, the logos, well, there's the SH in Asia. The S is an SH, okay? SH. The H is the bridge and the breath. Well, what was breathed into the star that ignited it? It said that the spirit, in our King James said the spirit, but spirit is breath. That correctly, the breath moved upon the cosmic waters, then breathed into the star. So it's the breath, and then there is light, and then all creation comes out from there. And that's why we go around the sun, because the sun is the mother star. See, it's a royal eye. And so the word Aramaic, okay, is A-R-A-M-A-I-C. And then we have the terminology A-R-K-H-A-Y. There's that A-Y. And then Malik, M-A-L-E-K-H, not C-H. The C is a Luciferian creation. And this then means Malek, M-A-L-A-K. Oh, just M-A-L-E-K. We'll take the H off, actually. Well, there's an H on it. That's the point. Okay, yeah, I got to have, because the breath is at the end, of course, because it's breathing, because it means royal messenger. That's right. Okay, so Aramaic, Malek, and it means the power of the fiery keys of the M-O-T-H-E-R apostrophe S, tongue, T-O-N-G-U-E, which is correctly tone key, T-O-N-E-K-E-Y, the tone key. The tone key is the tongue. What key are you talking in? You talking in the Germanic? You talking in the Hebrew, which is another version of Germanic, or the Greek, another version of the Germanic, or the Latin, another version of the Germanic? I don't care what you call it. At the core, they are all Germanic, Indo-Germanic. The Latin, the Greek, the Hebrew, the Aramaic, the French, the Portuguese, the English, the the German, the Khazarian, it's all Germanic. Even, let's not leave out Sanskrit. Let's not leave out Sanskrit, you see? And so the tones went in different directions and the symbols went in different directions. But we get back to the beginning, ladies and gentlemen, okay? The Arche Malik. So the first part, abbreviated by the wonderful Jesuits, Ara is R is really Arche. And then the Malik is after that, and it's Maic, but it's Malik, the mother's tongue. Malik is the original word for king. When you see the word king in our scriptures, it's Malik, because the king was not the head, he was the royal messenger. He better do his job or he's going to lose his office, right? Yahweh throws him out all the time. Throwing this one out, throwing that one out, because they went from being a royal messenger to think they were king. You see, that's Cain. King is Cain, because they were the Malik, the mother's tongue. They're speaking for the virgin light, the mother. But they don't do their job, they get thrown out. And that's what happened. In fact, he threw them all out at one point. 730 BC, throws out all of ASHAVOR. There's that word Asha again. Asha, not Israel, ASHAVOR. And then he throws out all of Utah as well, because they all wanted to go after those two columns, that twin towers, the two columns, sun and moon, the occultic tradition that we find in Freemasonry today. The towers that came down. And in the middle was the altar where they altered everything. And so, yeah. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. So it's, what we're doing here really is cataloging these ASHAVORs. We're putting them all on the table so you can see and read it for yourself. I know, for some people it's probably boring, and just, they'd rather, stay with the King James and, thou and thee and saith and all that, and yet they don't realize that it being a code, it can be unraveled. The mystery can be unraveled. You can know, in other words, as you learn the symbols, and that's very sure, I would say within 30 days, we're probably going to be doing a presentation on the screen with a writing board. When I have my writing board, we're going to come to another level, because I will show you then the symbols. We're going to start with the ABCs, which correctly is AVG, and we're going to just do one symbol at a time, and because once you know the symbol, you see, then you'll know why these particular letters are within a certain word, right? Like the word R, AR, okay, just like that, and we see in there the word army, arbitrary, argument, arrogant, the arm, your forearms, which are the arms that are used to do everything in life, right? From fighting to making love, the R, the power. It means the power. So the AR, there's the word royal, and there's the first letter of the alphabet, the symbol of the pyramid, and the projection of light, the point coming from infinity, and the projection out going to infinity. What a powerful letter. From infinity to infinity. Okay, point and expansion, and then the R for the royal. So it's the infinite royal. We could say the R is the infinite royal. That's like the sun, then, right? Oh, spell it backwards. What do you get? Right? R-A-Y. Woo, R backwards is R-A-Y. So that's pretty powerful, because the AR comes out of the word for the ray of light. Then you see, when you reverse it. So we're at the opposite end, right? This light is over there and it comes down over here, and so it creates a reverse image, and so we can see that, and then in the aspect of that, right? And then, but then we can, well, that's just one example. I'm trying to give you some words here. Let me do this one here. I got Shiva Lingam here. I can't get over what these people do with that thing, and but we're going to cover a few terms. I know we got a late start, and I don't want to run the program over. Let me see where we're at right now. What's our Skype, Shelley? How much time? What have we been on Skype? Skype should have the notice on there. Let me pull it up.
On the broadcast, 2.5 hours.
2 hours, 10 minutes. Okay, yeah, because I can tell my voice is wearing down too, and so we're going to probably pick it up tomorrow then on Ninja cat. Okay, but let me go through a few more words here. Rahab, and I got diverted today on the program because of the sensational disaster that's occurring in California. And so just like they pulled the plug on millions of people in California, they're going to pull the plug on all of us, ladies and gentlemen. So to learn to read it for yourself might be a good idea, because they'll pull the plug on us real soon, and then we'll just have our books to read, and we'll be reading here and creating light all by ourselves here, and that's the way it's going to end for all of us. And then either they round us up, or we starve to death, or we get fried with 5G, or whatever plan they have for us. Go watch the movie Purge. I mean, come on, they're telling you right in these movies what they really think of you. These controllers that are here to serve and protect us. Well, the good news is not all cops are bad cops, and most of them are good. They just got into a bad deal and became revenue agents, and found out they were a part of a very sinister group of people called the Freemasons that have it in for the rest of the world. So we diverted. I apologize for that. I wanted to go into words right away, but how can you, bypass the other part of the story here? Especially when the news media are just here reporting it. Oh, Tammy, Bippy, they moved out of their house, and they'll be in 2 weeks, Bob. Oh, that's right, Becky. Yeah, okay, but they're not talking about or I like the way one of the news reporters said on the news broadcast, says, well, we're going to cover all angles of the issue here. We want to be objective, don't we, Barbie? Yes, that's right. We want to be objective. Yes. And, showing their objectivity while, the point is that they're not researchers. They say what they're told to say, and they know what's going on, but they can't say it. They can't say it. So it's so great to be able to have a moment left in the sunshine where we can say it the way it really is for our friends, ladies and gentlemen, for you, to know the other side of the story, how to spell it out. Okay, we spell it out not just in ASHAVORs or in our scriptural discussions here, but we spell it out actually how it is happening on planet Earth, how it is really playing out, the grand illusion. We get past the illusions, okay? We're not following illusions here. We don't do that. I dedicated my life to knowing, and you can know that you know that you know. So the word, okay, so I see what my notes are here. I was confused about that. Where's the other one now? Here it is. Okay. So when we're talking about it, if you've followed our programming at all, then you know how we talk about the beast system actually having a purpose. And the purpose is to carry the baby. And I talked about the story of Solomon, how he, was going to cut the baby in half, and the true mother says, no, give my baby to the false mother, because she wanted to preserve the life of her baby. And so the baby symbolically is the truth and the scriptures. And so in order to preserve the baby, the father, or the mother, the virgin mother, let the whore take the true baby into her possession to save the life of the baby. Otherwise, they would have destroyed Christianity outright. But instead, they say, hey, what a deal. Politics is a hard way to control people. Let's control people through religion. And let's become Christians, guys. What do you think? Hey, yeah, I think that's a good idea. I'm tired of the political game anyway. Let's become Christians, and we'll get everybody to buy our papal bull and give us a token of donation every Sunday. And man, business will be great. And we'll still be able to get all the free sex and drugs and drink blood on Saturday night before we have our holy mass with the rest of the mass, on Sundays. So, yeah, Bob, that sounds like a good idea. So that's what they did, you see. They just decided to conquer the world through the opium of religion. And the beauty was, guess what? No, you don't have to give up your sins. You're going to sin the rest of your life. Okay, that's the big lie, right? You're going to sin the rest of your life. You can't live up to the standard of Yeshua. You can't be like him. You can't be perfect in thought and word and action. You can't do it, so don't even try, fool. We got some drugs on the side we can get you. You need a little sex. We'll set up the parlors where you can go get the women, and and we'll arrange things really nice on earth for you, so you can have it your way. And then and not only that, but we'll give you the soft version of the scriptures that'll keep you confused, and therefore you'll be content in your having your eyes closed, because having your eyes closed is really the original thought for sin. It means to have the light put out, right? Because sun is the same word as sin by changing the vowels, so it's an SN. SN. So sun is light, and if you have a son, you have a star. He's receiving the inheritance of the family. So sin must be to have your eyes put out, and so they then changed all the words, and then everybody's thinking, okay, look, and I can't live up to that standard, and I don't have to, because I've been forgiven. I've been given my indulgence. I was told that I'm already forgiven. Therefore, I can go do this. I can be irresponsible. I can have a party. Don't bother me, please. Okay? And there's your 600 versions of Christianity, because they all have one thing in common. They all still acknowledge that they're going to live the rest of their life in sin. When Yeshua came here, if anybody hasn't read it, it even says it in plain English. He came to set us free. To set us free. And it says, whosoever the seed of the Son has set free will be free indeed. And he says, behold, we speak wisdom among those who are perfect. Well, nobody's perfect, I guess, so nobody's listening. That makes sense. A perfect man, a perfect man offends not in word, Barbie, in deed, Barbie, in Tucson. The filthy mouth that one woman wanted to go investigate us, and to tell everybody, we're not talking truth here, and don't listen to Desert. He don't know what he's talking about. He just came into this yesterday and had a vision. Yeah, but this filthy mouth can actually call Ninja up to pray with her with a filthy mouth, actually praying with profanity coming out of her mouth. If that isn't a giant, you know what I mean, a Jewish princess, I don't know what is, because they follow the Babylonian Talmud. They follow the Babylonian Talmud. Okay, they pretend Christianity, and then they're the mother, sons, and daughters of darkness, Eastern Star witches. Okay, that can filth can come out of their mouth, and they're still saved. They're still preaching the gospel, and yet even Paul said very plainly that a woman was not to usurp authority over the man, and it's forbidden for women to teach. Okay, I didn't write that. I'm sorry, I didn't write that. It's because the man was supposed to be the bearer of truth. The man was supposed to be the head of the household. The man was supposed to be not a man, but an Ashon, a royal eye that came down, because the man is a criminal and sinner. And so there's how they played with all their words again. So you see, we've got a real problem, ladies and gentlemen. We got a real problem, but the solution is easy. You see, because the real problem is when you don't know the problem and you don't know the game that's been played, you can't fix it. It's like looking at a car. What's wrong with it? I don't know. I don't know what's wrong with it. And so you walk away and you walk and leave it behind because you don't know how to fix it. It didn't get you where you thought you wanted to go. You thought it was going to get you somewhere, and you found out it stalled out. Okay? And so you walked away from it because it was a loser. And you don't know what was wrong with it. And what's wrong with it is it was based upon a lie. And so you've got to then unravel the mystery, because it said that there's nothing unknown that cannot be known. There's nothing in secret that cannot be revealed. But it's a work, it's a walk, and it's a whack on the side of your head, because it's not going to be handed to you on a silver platter with wrapped in tinsel of gold. You're going to have to work at it and to see it. And you'll find yourself all alone, because people want to just follow every other idea that comes along that's good, because they can't figure anything out. So they're willing to buy into the next lie. That's easy. Hey, that sounds pretty good. I'll take one of those. Sure. Yeah, because their eyes are closed. Ladies and gentlemen, the eyes are closed. You can't see with your eyes closed. Okay? Just like that graphic, that song that didn't work out that Shelley put on the other break, and you saw all that old levels of creation, going down, down, down into more arroyos and valleys, you can see that the earth is millions and millions and actually a couple billion, maybe 3.5, 4 billion years old. And you can see it with your eyes. You can know it. It's true. If you know, in other words, that element of truth explains everything in our universe, everything in our solar system, everything on our planet, then gets easy to recognize. Okay, Jackie, sorry to miss you as well, but we're glad to have you. Yeah, that's the good news. We got all this recorded, and good to have you back here. We're winding it down right now. So it is possible to know once you can, get some basic fundamental. You can't stand on a foundation of lies, ladies and gentlemen. You can't do it. That's the foundation of sand, right? We're told to be founded on a rock, and the rock is truth from the tree's root. And so we have to realize that man has taken over the truth, taken over the scriptures, taken over religion, and so he's been controlling us thereby. He's been controlling us. And so we have to then be set free from that. So the point I was trying to make about this whore, okay, I want to show you that the scriptures tell you this was meant to happen, okay? Don't tell anybody. They don't want you to know, okay? But we're going to tell it right here, okay? That this was meant to happen, and I'm going to give you 3 examples, okay? Because first of all, we have in Jericho, when they were coming into the promised land, then they go to Jericho, which means Yarico, the father is rich, and the spies had to be let out safely by the keeper of an inn, who was Rahab, the harlot. Okay, and so they made a covenant with her, a covenant that we will save your life. You put outside of your window a scarlet-colored cloth, a red cloth. All right, and so this is then indicative of the blood of Yeshua. You see, and then they're saved by Joshua and his people. All by Joshua. Okay, saved by Joshua, Yeshua. Okay, and so. So there we have a whore. She becomes a part of the tribe. She's accepted in, okay, as any foreigner could be, okay, and so then we have the story of Ruth, and she was the and I have one not on my card. I don't want to forget, and that's Tamar, okay, and then we have a Ruth, who is the priestess of Chemosh from Moab, not Moab, and interesting because Moab is the mother star, Moav, the bees of corruption, and so symbolically she came from the virgin light, but then their culture also represented the whoredom as well, because all false traditions represent the whoredom, whether it's the Vatican or Babylon or Meitzar, falsely called Egypt, okay, and so Ruth decides to have a conversion, and she follows her mother-in-law, mother by law, and then is ultimately brought into the family line of the royal Messiah, the Moashiach. So through a Moabitess priestess, we have our Savior come through the line, the womb of a priestess of Chemosh, who sacrificed children on the altar. Our Moashiach, Messiah, came. Okay, she married Boaz, right? And then they had Oved, and then Jesse, then David. Okay, so it's true. The scriptures declare it so. And then we have Tamar, and Tamar, prior to this story, who was also the granddaughter of Melchizedek, or Shem, correctly Asham, but Shem will work. Then Tamar, the granddaughter, marries the son of Judah, Uthah, and then he dies, and so he marries her to his second son, as was the obligation, and then it says, didn't want to have a child with her, and I guess he didn't like her or something, and so it says he spilled his seed on the ground, and therefore he was killed, and then therefore Judah didn't want to give his third son. He was a little afraid of what was going on here. He didn't know the rest of the story. So then he doesn't give his third son to Tamar. So Tamar takes off her winter clothing, learns he's going to shear the sheep, and goes and to the crossroads and waits for him dressed as a harlot, covers her face, and then was willing to take a lamb from Judah, her father-in-law. And he says, well, I don't have a lamb right now. Can I give you tokens? She says, give me your ring and your staff. Those are the symbols of royalty, the ring and the staff. She takes them, and then when he's ready to follow the Hammurabi law and burn her to death when he learns that she's pregnant, and she comes forward and says, well, I'm pregnant by the man who owns this ring and this staff. And then all of a sudden it was bingo. Okay, you are better than me because I wouldn't do the thing that I was supposed to do. And so you went in stealth and took the seed for the baby from me, and I didn't even know it. And so, but he was going to burn her to death. That was the law of Hammurabi, whoredom. That was the law. They were following the Aryan law of Hammurabi, come out of Sumer, still active in that day. And so anyway, so the point being, ladies and gentlemen, that the symbolism of this whoredom that we see even in the royal line was to tell us that the false traditions are the whore and that they are carrying the baby, and we need to take what we can get from them and then make lemonade out of those very sour lemons, right? Because it's almost there. It's sort of like, but it's not perfect because they corrupted it. But yet we can, because Yeshua is the revealer, the story can unfold for you. The original aspect of the sense, the Zensei, which is infinite, can be open to you. Because Yeshua said there is nothing unknown that cannot be known. There is nothing in secret that cannot be revealed. And even if it come down to it, he could, you know what I'm saying? There's nothing he can't do. Nothing. And so it was part of the plan and the design that the occult would take over our truth and then burn us at the stake. And if the divine providence were well for us, that we could possibly, before we go to the stake, actually receive the truth of light. They demonized the sun. They occulted the sun with the Lucifer moon, and they hate the light, and they have hidden the light from us and got us to think that any talk about the sun is sun worship for some reason, when it's merely the great logo, the great symbol of the spirit of the creation of the universe, and it represents his son, S-O-N, as in the double meaning of S-U-N. A sun is a sun is a sun, the microcosm and the macrocosm, the perfect image of a star. What better image could you have as a ruler than a star? You see? And so that's the logo. And so they told us, but we never figured out that the logo was the sun, right? Like, what is the logo? We think of it abstractly, in an abstract way, like, well, he's the logo, but I don't know what that is. What's a logo? I don't know. Oh, okay. Like, look at a corporation. They've all got logos on them, right? You don't know what a logo is? This is the number one, the first logo there ever was. The first logo. And it's the royal eye. And Yeshua had royal eyes. And we have to have royal eyes. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's a long journey, but a short bridge, okay? And because time ticks away before we know it. And we're at the point where we know we're going to shake that ego off. We're going to get rid of it. And we're going to get rid of that serpent, that body, the serpent flesh, And then we're going to say, well, maybe I better open the book and I better make sure, but it'll be too late. It'll be too late. What we're putting on the table here is a miracle, because Yeshua is a revealer. He's a revealer. And then the ASHAVORs that we bring to you are true. They're correct. They're they are complete, and they're not misleading. Okay, because they are based on primitive root forms. The Indo-Germanic dictionaries are telling 90% of it. They got a little bit wrong because of the influence of the doctors. You know, those doctors, they've always got to fix everything. And but nonetheless, it is a science, and it is a science that you can absolutely know. Because it's based on symbol. There's the first symbol, the logo, but then the next one was the letter A, and the one that came after that is the letter V. After that is the letter G, and after that is the letter H, I think. And then, you know, I have to then go get my dictionary because I did all the homework, but I don't have it all memorized. It's a big, you know, it's a big story, and it's a big legacy that we've been handed. And so anyway, the point is that we're trying to convey for you the elements that have been stolen from us, and you can get the picture because it's based on pictures. It's based on the cosmic array up above. It's based on all of nature all around us. It begins with the star and it ends with the star, because Abraham was told, not Abraham, he wasn't a ham, Zavram Haim. There's the word sovereign. Oh, the word sovereign. You heard it here first. Nobody knows where the word sovereign comes from, because I never heard from anybody ever. And all the freedom movement, they all wanted to be sovereigns and be sovereign from government and all this. And yet nobody could define sovereignty nor even tell us where we get the word. And it comes from Zavram Haim, Abraham. But it actually goes back to Adam, because he was the first Zavram. Okay, that's where it said he was more subtle. He wasn't more subtle. He was Savram. He knew how everything in the universe operated. Okay, so Zavram Haim, Abraham, was told that your seed will be like the stars of heaven. So that which is first is like that which is last, a star, then a star, and then that which is last becomes like that which was first. We become stars in the cosmic order. We become true lights and transcend from this dead, dark world of falsehood and lies and deceit and go back to the light where we came from, ladies and gentlemen. Everything came out of the light. Sorry, flat earthers. Tell me your Bible fits that. Okay? We all came out from the light, all creation, and it goes back to the light. You have no bearing. There is no bearing for how all things came to be when you have said that the earth, you know, is flat and it's not an orb and it didn't come out of the light, because the light came first. Go read your scriptures. Even the corrupt ones, it's still pretty plain to see, you know. And so, so we're putting it back together in this great mystery, ladies and gentlemen, and we have a translation project. And there's virtually no time and there's no resources to even do it. You know, we've got the Book of Wisdom, want to get it to people in prison, and there's no funny money. You know, there is none. So that's the great irony and tragedy. We've got some really important things for people who got nothing but time on their hands to read, and at this time we can't get it to them. But we're making progress. We're doing it the hard way. We do it with our blood, sweat, and tears, and while we're being persecuted, and our lives are being threatened, and by the darkness, but nonetheless, we have nothing else that we can do. This is what we do, you know. This is all that we do, and so anyway, they got their job and I got my job, and I'm very happy to have my job. I'm very grateful for Ninja and Yochelleg on this production that we do with Forbidden History, and all of our wonderful friends who keep coming back. Lynn has been our wrench. Yeah, she's got a wrench there, and she's been our wrench from the beginning. You know, even able to be the first one to answer these very deep questions. You know, she's always on top of it. So great to have wonderful new friends and talent like Jackie. She has a YouTube channel that she just makes you feel really wonderful when you're listening to her next clip on feeling good. You know, she just knows. She's a nurse, so go figure. She knows how to make you feel good. And then others of you that come by, you know, I'm very grateful. We're not expecting a 40,000 listenership, you know, because it's not like that. We as the truth is, it says that many seek to enter in, but very few will be saved. And so there's many people out there that want to listen to Marfugel, and they want to listen to Ghost, and they want to listen to these other programs, and let them have it, because it's not going to give them the answer. Listening about aliens and flying saucers is not going to save your life. It's going to keep you on the merry-go-round of falsehood and deception and distraction. That's right. That's the mass distraction. We've got to get to the core of the onion and quickly And that's about who we are, where we are, when we are, and why we are, and how to interpret it. And give me the original alphabet, Desert. I think I'd like to be able to see and read it for myself. And so that's what we're going to continue to do right here while the sun still shines. And we have a moment in that sunshine, ladies and gentlemen. And tomorrow we'll be back on with Ninja Cat at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time on Monday, the day of the moon. That's when you go back to work, slave. The day of the moon. Ghost figures, right? Okay, so don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to know the future, don't forget, I'm Dezert-Owl telling you, you need to look for the Forbidden History because it's all right here, coming your way 7 days a week, somewhere out there in cyberspace. What they didn't want you to know that we tell right here. Did I already say that? Oh, it don't matter. We need to say it again anyway, don't we? Peace and love, everybody. Do tell a friend, won't you? All right. Thank you for doing that. Bye.
Paint your palette blue and gray. Look out on a summer's day with eyes that know the darkness in my soul. Shadows on the hills. Sketch the trees and the daffodils. Catch the breeze and the winter chills in colors on the snowy linen land. Now I understand what you tried to say to me, and how you suffered for your sanity, and how you tried to set them free. They would not listen, they did not know how. Perhaps they'll listen now. Starry, starry night, flaming flowers that brightly blaze, swirling clouds in violet haze, reflect in Vincent's eyes of china blue, colors changing hue. Morning fields of amber grain, weathered faces lined in pain, are soothed beneath the artist's loving hand. Now I understand what you tried to say to me, and how you suffered for your sanity, and how you tried to set them free. They would not listen, they did not know how. Perhaps they'll listen now, for they could not love you, but still your love was true. And when no hope was left inside on that starry, starry night, you took your life as lovers often do. But I could have told you, Vincent, this world was never meant for one as beautiful as you. Starry, starry night, portraits hung in empty halls, frameless heads on nameless walls, with eyes that watch the world and can't forget, like the strangers that you've met, the ragged men in ragged clothes, a silver thorn, a bloody rose, lie crushed and broken on the virgin snow. Now I think I know what you tried to say to me, and how you suffered for your sanity, and how you tried to set them free. They would not listen, they're not listening still. Perhaps they never